against rules to protect LGBTQ people, but senators caution that the rejection could be unprecedented and raise more questions than answers. The discussion comes as other states have flirted with rejecting federal education money, though none have gone so far as to do it yet. The U.S. Department of Education has criticized the idea as, quote, political posturing. One lawmaker wants to eliminate translation services for the written exam to get your driver's license in Tennessee. A bill introduced by Representative Kip Capley of Summertown would require all written exams for a Tennessee driver license to be administered only in English. It would also prohibit the use of any translation dictionary, electronic device, or interpreter to assist with the examination. Right now, the knowledge tests are currently found in 5 languages: English, German, Spanish, Japanese, and Korean. News on demand at WGNSradio.com. I'm Ron Jordan reporting.
The Good Neighbor Network, on air and online at WGNSradio.com. Rutherford County's most trusted source for local news.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Kevin Figures.
A full slate of games in the NBA Friday night, capped off by the defending champion Nuggets beating the Pelicans 125-113 behind a triple-double from Nikola Jokic. Minnesota defeated Portland 116-93. Rudy Gobert with 24 points and 17 boards there. Steph Curry scored 15 of his 27 points in the fourth quarter in a 140-131 Warriors comeback victory in Chi-Town. Utah dominated Toronto 145-113. Clippers have won 8 of their last 9. They beat Memphis 128-119, wins for Miami, Philadelphia, and Indiana. In NFL news, the Bills will be without receiver Gabe Davis for Sunday's wildcard matchup against Pittsburgh as he's been nursing a knee injury. Lions tight end Sam Laporta is questionable to play against the Rams on Sunday night with a knee injury as well. The Commanders hired 49ers assistant GM Adam Peters as their new general manager. I'm Kevin Figures.
CAR T cells, which are immune cells removed from the body, genetically modified in a laboratory and then reinfused back into a recipient, have achieved notable successes in treating some cancers. Now, there have also been reports of people being treated with CAR Ts developing blood cancers, leukemia, and lymphoma, which the FDA is investigating. William Nelson, director of the Kimmel Cancer Center at Johns Hopkins, explains how such a link may be possible.
To insert the genes into those cells that enable them to recognize the cancer, 2 platforms are used, both of them viruses. The key is that the viruses themselves have been disabled, but they promote the insertion of the new genes. When they insert in many different places through the genome, and the worry is that they may have inserted in a place that would activate a gene that might be associated with cancer.
At Johns Hopkins, I'm Elizabeth Tracy.
There's a national shortage of the drug Adderall, and it's a dangerous situation for people with narcolepsy. I'm Rainer Rysam, and this is your KFF Health News Minute. Adderall is a common treatment for ADHD, but it's also used for narcolepsy, a rare disorder that causes excessive daytime sleepiness. Without medication, basic tasks like driving can become dangerous. Lawmakers are calling on manufacturers and government regulators to make sure there's enough of the drug for everyone who needs it. Mental health courts were created decades ago to help keep people with mental illness out of jail. But there's little evidence they work. They can involve onerous requirements that aren't always tied to treatment, and they can be expensive. Lee Johnston is a legal expert with the University of Florida.
The bigger problem is they're taking attention away from more important solutions.
Researchers say pairing diversion programs with housing services and job opportunities could help. There's more at kffhealthnews.org.
The Wake Up Crew, WGNS.
It's Wake Up Saturday with Dalton Barrett here on News Radio WGNS.
Good morning, everybody. This is Wake Up Saturday. It is 7 minutes till 8 o'clock, which means I'm almost out for today. But want to remind you that we're going to have the Ag Today report coming up, and then I'll be back just a little bit later to close out the show around 8 a.m. Thank you guys for listening, and good morning.
This Monday, join Laverne in honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the annual MLK ceremony. The event takes place at 10 on Monday morning in the boardroom of the Laverne City Hall. Esteemed speakers, Pastor Joe E. Randall Jr. and Commissioner Hope Oliver will share powerful messages. This Monday, the MLK ceremony in the Laverne City Hall at 10 a.m. A day of reflection, inspiration, and community.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
This is Primetime Sports, WGNS Murfreesboro, on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, streaming worldwide on WGNSSports.com, and always at the game. The game. It's where you've had breakfast with the coaches since 1992. It's the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner. We'll talk to the coaches about their most recent games and their upcoming opponents. Now from News Radio WGNS, it's the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome in here to a very frigid edition of Coaches Corner on this 13th day of January. If you have not ventured out since maybe yesterday afternoon, it is very cold out there. And what's sad is this is going to be some of the warmer days we've got this coming week. So it's going to be interesting. But we're here to talk high school basketball this morning. Lots of games all around the county last night. We have completed the first week of district play for most teams. And going to be able to talk about that this morning with our guest. First up, we'll have Riverdale at 8, 8:15 Smyrna, 8:30 Blackman. I'll be doing those three interviews. And then at 8:45, Danny Brewer takes over to talk Laverne, Oakland, Stewart's Creek, and Rockvale. And then following that, John Dinkins will be here for the Siegel interview, Eagleville interview, and then MTCS Cougar Corner. That's around, well, Siegel at 9:45. 10 o'clock, Eagleville, and around 10:15 or so, if we stay on time, and I'm usually the culprit that gets us off, MTCS Cougar Corner at 10:15. So, with that said, let's look at some scores here on the Jennings and Ayers Funeral Home scoreboard. Going to give you a brief look at the girls' scores from last night as well. If you're just joining us and want to find out what's happened with our local teams. Last night in girls, Oakland a winner over Siegel, 42-36. Siegel had 3 leads. It was tied 4 times in that game, but Oakland pulls out the win at Siegel last night. Blackman, we had those games on the radio for you and streaming at WGNSSports.com and all of our socials. Blackman 59, Riverdale 23. 59-23, Blackman girls a winner. Stewart's Creek downs Smyrna 64-18. It was Huntland edging Eagleville 53-51. That was a back-and-forth game last night from what I understand. PCA 59, Columbia Academy 29. And it was Central Magnet edging Columbia 55-51. Now to boys. And for the second time in a week, the Oakland boys in an overtime, this time at Siegel. They won on Tuesday night at Rockvale, which we had on the air for you. And last night, they fall to Siegel 86-79. We had some great individual performances in last night's game. Isaiah Verge had 29 points, 27 in the second half and in the overtime. Okay. For Siegel, well, Carter Webb, a night where he was given game ball for his 1,000th point. He's in the 1,000-point club as a junior. He had 36 in the game last night. Let's see. Blackman defeats Riverdale 52-34. It was Stewart's Creek a win over Smyrna 73-58. Eagleville 69, Huntland 60, Columbia Academy 73, PCA 70 in a battle of district titans there. Both teams, I think PCA only had two losses going into that, I think. Columbia Academy had 3. So Two very good teams right there. Tullahoma over Central Magnet 68-48. There are some games today. There is a game on Monday with Eagleville at Richland. I have a sneaking suspicion that will not be played. And then Tuesday, district play as well. With snow in the forecast, if you're just waking up, there is a winter storm watch. National Weather Service thinking right now anywhere 2 to 4 inches of snow, maybe higher amounts. So that's going to be something we'll have to watch, and very cold next week as well. So if there are any cancellations and whatnot, we'll have those on our website at wgnsradio.com. All right, to the first conversation here. Michael Voss is standing by. We're going to have him come in and have conversation about the Riverdale Warriors when we come back on the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner.
We're talking now with Heather here at Carpets by Osborne. Tell us what it's like to work at a family business.
It's a lot of fun. However, it's a lot of work. Everybody has to pull their weight equally.
What do you think are some of the advantages of people doing business with a family business versus a corporate business?
We are here to answer all questions. We're responsible for scheduling jobs. We're not here to sell you material and pass you off to a list of installers.
Carpets by Osborne on Northwest Broad, next to Tire World.
Whether you're a student, alumni, or just a fan, Raider Tees has exactly what you need to help you cheer on the Blue Raiders on game days and every moment in between. We sell officially licensed Blue Raider gear, whether it's clothing, hats, flags, chairs, or just whatever. We have it all, including exclusive gear you won't find anywhere else. Like us on Facebook for updates on new Blue Raider gear and special prices or discounts. For all your Blue Raider gear, shop Raider Tees today. Bigger, better, and go blue!
Pizza. You can now order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. We've made ordering online a breeze. From sirpizzatn.com, tap on the location nearest you and begin your order for carryout or delivery. You can order the Royal Feast, create your own, spaghetti, calzones, everything right from our online portal at sirpizzatn.com.
Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
And we are back here on the Coach's Show. It is brought to you by Little Caesars Pizza with 4 Murfreesboro locations. They're on Memorial Boulevard, Warrior Drive, South Rutherford Boulevard, and Old Fort Parkway. Get hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars, and that's close enough by to Riverdale High School. Michael Voss, I'm sure there's been a Little Caesars pizza or two brought into the school.
There's been a Little Caesars pizza or two. There's been Rick's. There's all kinds of stuff over there that you can run and grab real quick.
Absolutely. Well, talking boys basketball with you this morning, and boy, we've started district play. I want to talk a little bit about what you did over the holidays as well, but let's see, you've had maybe you've played 2 and you've got the next one, maybe the 3 toughest games in the league coming up here. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the league is competitive night in and night out. Now you look, we ran into a little buzzsaw against Siegel the other night. We held Carter Webb to 16 and Moss to 4, and you think you feel pretty good about it. And then you look up, Melendez has 21 in the first half. He made 6 threes. Like he got going in that game.
Yeah.
And the thing about Siegel is they've got so many weapons, and those guys play really, really well together. They've done a real good job. And Rigsby obviously does a real good job. And that's the thing. Coaching in this league, night in and night out, it's going to be tough. You're going to face well-coached teams. You're going to face disciplined teams. And, that night we ran into a little bit of one and came out on the short end of it.
Well, you have to think. I mean, like you said, if you can hold down the points for Webb, he had 36 last night.
Yeah, no, he's – that was what he did the same thing to us last year. I think in our first game that we played him, he had, I think he had 9, and then the second game he had 39. He's a different scorer. He can score everywhere on the court. And it's just he's been fun to watch grow and develop. You know, he hit his 1,000th point the other night against us, and you know he's had a really good career so far, and he's just going to kind of continue to build and do what he does. But you know, again, you look, you know, Rigsby just does a good job. We played Blackman last night, and you obviously know what you're getting with Barry every night. I mean, it's one of those leagues where you got a gauntlet every night, and you got to kind of figure out ways to be successful.
And just to kind of think of preparing for Siegel and preparing for Blackman, I mean, do you have to just forget one game and throw everything out and come up with, I mean, because Barry's going to do different things, and it's usually going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out kind of game with him.
Yeah, no, that's the way. Siegel's going to run and run and run, and Blackman is not. You know, because what Blackman's going to do this year is pound it through the post, and they've got the best they've got the best sealer in the league in Christian Johnson. Like he is big and physical, and he does a great job of working to catch. And I thought Gray and Ryan and Tez last night, for the most part, did a fairly good job on him. They got caught a couple of times, but you get caught because they work to get it there.
They're going to continue. I mean, they'll try it a dozen times.
That's the thing is they're not going to deviate from the plan, and they're not going to sit there. If it doesn't work one time, they'll go right back at it with the next. You know, Wirt's running his. He's got a couple of series that he's running to get some duck-in looks on the post. And like I said, for the most part, I thought we guarded it okay. But the thing about them is when you don't guard it okay, they make you pay. You know, Christian had 16 last night against us, and then one of the backup posts had 8, and it was some tough finishes. Like they finished a few tough ones, but some of it was – they just keep working, and eventually they put you in a bad spot. You know, it's like we talked about going into the game last night with my guys is you're going to have to guard for a minute at a time. Like this is not your – if they don't get the shot that they want out of a set, they're going to sit there and turn offense, and you got to be patient. We got some deflects and didn't come up with a couple of balls that possibly could have changed the game. And, you know, you sit there and look. It was 5-4, and then all of a sudden it's 15-5 Blackman, and it was an 11-0 run, but it didn't feel like an 11-0 run. Like sometimes there's 11-0 runs that you get in 30 seconds, and like it feels, you know, that 30 seconds is miserable, or that minute of game clock is miserable.
And that probably took 4 minutes or more.
It took 5.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing about it wasn't like we necessarily guarded poorly. It wasn't like they just hit us with a quick spurt of offense. It was just one of those things where they kind of grinded it out for 5 minutes. What we've done is we've struggled scoring this year a lot of the times, and you know when you struggle scoring and you have a 11-0 run like that put against you, it didn't feel like an 11-0 run. And then we come out of the gate in the third quarter, and cut it to 5. Basically had it about 5 or 7. It feels like the whole quarter, and then we got a real tough charge call. We either cut it to 7 or to 5, and instead that bucket gets taken off the board. We give up 2 more, and you know that was kind of the little incident that broke our back. But our guys are competing. You know, we're playing hard. We're playing hard. We're doing a lot of right things, but we just have. We have a lapse every game that we've got to kind of figure out, and once we figure that out, you know, we'll get a couple things turned around.
You know, I've seen your team play a couple of times this year, and they're playing really hard defensively. They're doing a lot of right things in the game, running the offense, but it's just consistently getting the shots to fall, I think, is the struggle. And you know, when you have a 3 or 4 minute scoring drought, that makes it tough on the defense too.
No, it does. You know, that's what you look at every single game we've played this year. Even going back to we were talking about this last night, as early as Centennial, which was our 3rd or 4th game of the year, I think. that game ended up 43-33, but in that game there was a 5-minute drought by both teams. The score was 33-31 for 5 minutes of game clock, and neither one of us could score. We both were just defending like crazy, and it was just one of those things where if we could have ever gotten a lead in it, who knows what happens in that game. You know, I think the same thing in a couple of these games recently. You know, the only game we weren't in Siegel, but we were in the game last night with a chance to go and find a way to grind out a win and play. And you know, at the end of the day, we just can't get the ball in the basket enough.
Michael Voss with us this morning as we talk Riverdale boys basketball here today. Is, for a player, and in your mind here, is having trouble at times scoring the most frustrating thing that a player can go through? I mean, you play defense, all the other parts of the game, when you just struggle to get points. Is that the most frustrating thing a basketball player can go through?
It can be, and sometimes, you know, it's one of those things where it leads to, it just kind of builds. Because I thought for the most part we handled things fairly well last night. It was a very physical whistle. You know, like I said, the physical whistle at times can bother us a little bit, just because when you're not scoring well, you don't blame the not scoring well. You kind of find other reasons, and I think that's defaults for a bunch of people now. And that's what we talked about last night too, is we have to find ways to kind of maintain and kind of overcome that. Just because one thing's not going well, we can't point at another thing and say, this is it, because that's not it. At the end of the day, like we've got to be a little bit, we've got to be tough-minded enough to find ways to get the ball in the basket, and we execute for the most part fairly well. You know, now again, when you get into situations like last night when we're sitting there and running our stuff and we're trying to execute out of it, and Blackman guards it really well, and they're calling out your stuff as well. Like, our guys look at that and they get frustrated a little bit, and that's what I told them. I said, guys, when you get into league play, like this is going to happen. You know, we went to Georgia, and those guys don't know what we run. They haven't they've seen us play, but they haven't really scouted us and prepared for us. So yeah, it was easier to get our stuff there. Even Shelbyville, that we played twice, like they're not putting as much into the scout for us as they are for their league teams. Like they're going to get a generic scout. Well, when you get into league play, you know, everybody knows what the other person does, and that's where you've got to find it's finding some wrinkles, which we got obviously some stuff that that we're working on getting in, but it's finding wrinkles. But it's also just you've got to be really detailed in your executions, and you've got to be really detailed. And if you can be that, you'll still be able to execute and be fine.
Yeah. When you're scouting a league opponent, you probably watch double the amount of film, if not more. Maybe even have a live scout somewhere.
I don't even know. Like I go and watch so many games throughout the year, because there's things, you know, there's things that you just see live that you don't catch on tape. What you watch on tape is you watch for the sets, and you know, that's where you kind of clip them up and show guys. Like it's like I told the guys, we clipped up, and I bet we had 20 different plays Blackman runs, like 20 different sets, or just counters off of the same sets that they run, and we showed them all to them. But at the same time, we can't guard them all in practice, because that's going to be overload. At some point, you got to trust your rules. And we got caught on a couple of things where we just, you know, they called us off screens, or you know, we didn't follow our rules on a couple of plays, and those plays add up. Because I can tell you two of them were 3-point baskets, one by Flowers and another one by the Sanford kid that kind of gets you. And those are the things that you got to keep working and striving to eliminate. But when you play teams like Blackman, you can show them everything, but you can't go and guard everything, because if you do that, you're just going to overload your guys.
Well, one thing that if folks out there listening, never ask a basketball coach, how it's going on The Voice this time of the year or whatever TV show, because you're not watching that. You're watching film.
No, that was the thing. I watched the Tennessee game the other night, and I sat there, and I was going to try to lay down, and I thought, man, I got home at 6 o'clock. I'm watching this game. I'm going to go to bed, and before you know it, it's midnight, and I've watched 2 more Blackman games on tape after the Tennessee game, and it's just that time of year. It's it's what you do. And I've never slept great anyway. This time of year, I don't sleep at all.
I bet. Yeah, I've asked a coach about that one time, and they said, well, you can sleep in March. So, I guess that's part of it. Tuesday, just a brief look ahead at the schedule. You don't have a game. That's your bye in the district, your bye week, the first round go around. You're actually playing today. So
yeah, we play Lead Academy tonight at girls tip at 6, like a normal tip-off time. Our JV is actually playing right now. We host the league games today, so the 4 county teams are over at our place playing a couple JV games this morning, and we've had some success on that level. So it was especially playing a bunch of freshmen, so we're going to build on that.
Sure.
And kind of go on from there. But yeah, that's the one thing I'm not going to have to worry about is what looks like rescheduling a game on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. Michael, appreciate your time this morning, and as always good to catch up with you and talk with you, and we'll see you here down the road.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
That's Michael Voss joining us here on the Coach's Show, brought to you by Parks Auction Company. Let their experienced team of professionally trained staff utilize the auction process to sell your property. Find out more at parksauction.com.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
Craig's Tax Service.
We perform tax preparation, individual tax returns, corporations, partnerships, and all your payroll bookkeeping needs.
Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service.
We fulfill all your tax preparation needs from individual returns to corporations and handle any of those scary letters you may get from the IRS.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
Franklin's Printworks has been in Murfreesboro for over 25 years. We are a full-service commercial printer, everything from business cards, brochures, booklets to banners. My name is Jeff Carlton. I handle sales and marketing for Franklin's Printworks. We hear a lot people who have been working with printers on the internet, had issues, and they know that if we're working with someone local, that A, they know where to find us, and B, they know that we'll take care of it because we have to take care of our neighbors. Our website is franklinsprinting.org.
Winners Trophies can help you with customized awards for any occasion. Owner Kelly Hockenberry continues to provide awards for sports teams, churches, recognition awards, and more. Call Winners Trophies at 904-6002. That's 904-6002 for the best in quality, service, and pricing. You can also email Kelly, winnerstrophy@comcast.net. That's winnerstrophy@comcast.net. Any award for any occasion. Winners Trophies, 904-6002.
We're catching up with Anne-Marie Brents at Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive, another one of our great local businesses.
Yeah, it's a big family business. Knowing that my grandparents started it, to see it evolve and what it is now, it's just been really cool and I love it. It's just something I'm very passionate about, and customers have been great to us as well.
Whether it's a quick meal, feeding the whole family, or catering, Rick's Barbecue can handle it all.
It's really something I'm really passionate about, very blessed and thankful for.
Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We are back here on the Coach's Show, brought to you by Dan France Concrete, a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. That's Dan France Concrete. Time to talk Smyrna Bulldog basketball. Omar Smith, the head coach, joins us by phone this morning. And Coach, I don't know. Did you take a step outside and feel how nice and warm it is?
Yeah, it's just a little under the weather and, trying to get everything done at the house. So, my apologies.
No,
it's kind of
it's that time of the year. Everybody seems to be sick, and you got to save your energy and get out there. And you don't have time for that this time of the year, right?
not at all, not at all. We got to, turn the page to the next one and get ready to go. Got to keep trucking and go.
Well, you have jumped into district play this week, and I think about the league that you were in and the district that you were in last year versus the district that you were in this year, and to me, it's kind of like, okay, you were nothing against the league that you were in, but it was like you had maybe Conference USA team, and now you've bumped up to the ACC or something,
Yeah, it's interesting. You go to Nashville, and you kind of look at that schedule going in, and then you realize how close Cane Ridge and Antioch are, and then you turn around and then you got to go to Cookeville, and it's an hour-and-a-half drive, and you got to go to Lebanon, got to go to Wilson Central, and those long bus rides. But it's one of those things we'll adjust, and we'll figure it out, and hopefully, when they do the next cycle of redistricting, and we kind of keep it the same way and just, keep things the way they are.
I did read this week the Board of Control met, and the plan is to do a 4-year classification.
4-year cycle.
Yeah, right. And that's going to be different. I mean, and as our schools grow, I saw something last night that Rutherford County Schools added 1,850 students last year.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think about our growth, and I've heard rumblings that when we finish our growth, that we still may be close to capacity at that time. So it's going to be very interesting going forward, just seeing, and just this growth is amazing. I think it's a good thing for our county, understanding that this is where people want to be, because we got great schools and great athletics. But it's also it's a little stressful as well, because that's coming. You have to keep making adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, building an addition there at Smyrna, and by the time that's built, capacity within a building will be 2,500. And if I were a betting man, I would think that you'll still have portables on that campus even after the additions.
So, and it's funny you say that, because I teach in a portable, and I have kids asking, well, what room are you going to be in? I said, I don't know. I may still be in this portable. Who knows? Hopefully I get to see some of the new additions and be a part of it. But like I said, with that growth, I could very well still be in a portable in 2 years. And, it is what it is. But we just, like I said, we're a great school, and we just keep pushing, and we'll make adjustments, and we'll make it work.
Well, last night you took on your rival that, as the crow flies, is about 2 miles away, and Stewart's Creek. And those games are fun. Just talk about the atmosphere that you see at especially those games. I'm sure that it was just pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, and so I told one of my assistants, Jalen Johnson. Jalen played Smyrna, so he knows. He played before Stewart's Creek was open, but he knows about the Smyrna-Laferne rivalry. So, but I told him, I said, I love these games. These are fun. You get good crowds. Obviously, that gate's great, and you're gonna get that money on Monday or Tuesday in our case. But it's just, that's what high school sports is all about. And so, just getting our guys to understand that this is fun. Y'all, we call them rivalries, but y'all are friends with these people, and y'all hang out with these people on the weekends, and you've grown up with them. Y'all went to elementary and middle school together, so it makes it fun. But also they're emotional, and guys sometimes can get a little too amped up, and getting people to understand it. At the end of the day, it's a game, but they're fun rivalries, and and this is what we play for. This is what we sign up for. These type of games.
Well, last night you had 3 in double figures, and you fall to Stewart's Creek 73-59. But I mean that's probably a stat that you want to see if you're going to be in ball games.
Yeah, we got our leading scorer last night was a freshman. Zay Keeson Carver. The kid's going to be special. he's still a freshman, so he's got some things he's got to work on. But you can see the talent and just see, that the future is very bright for that kid. And the other two are juniors, so I look forward to seeing what's going to become with this group. But at the same time, just kind of getting them to understand that we're not looking at the future. We're looking at right now and getting them to do the things that we want them to do consistently. And that's what happened last night. First half, we were winning the whole first half, and guys are doing what their coach should do. And we kind of lost it in the second half and just, pushing those buttons to get them to be consistent and do what we coach them to do.
Talk a little bit about that, because there are times within a program where you have younger players and, throwing them to the fire. I mean, you've got to have this cross through your mind, do I throw them to the fire? Do they play freshman ball and then, spend some time on JV and kind of work them in? Or let's go. And sometimes just sheer numbers dictate some of that, but there are many methods, and there's no right or wrong way. It's just there are other factors that come into that, right?
Right. Like we've got 3 seniors in our program, and so that's part of it. Where obviously these juniors and the sophomores are going to play, but then we have freshmen that come in and they're pushing people for playing time. And like I said, I mentioned him out. Zach McCarver's that type of kid that he's going to push guys. And he wants to play. He was a part of a very successful freshman football program. He's actually, we had this discussion. We look at our program. He's the only one who played in a successful middle school program because he played at Oakland Middle. So this kid he knows what it means to win and what it takes. And so, it's one of those things. It just is what it is. He's pushing guys and he's trying to get guys to understand you've got to play hard for 32 minutes to win. Practice hard, get after it, doing the right things in the classroom. And guys are starting to figure it out. But like you say, it's one of those things where the numbers dictate kind of who we're playing. And, it's just, it is what it is. But guys they're starting to figure it out. And now it's just getting to that point where we can be consistent in what we're doing and do it for a full game and not just a half.
Omar Smith joins us. He's the head coach of the Smyrna Bulldogs this morning, and did want to mention your trip to Cookeville. And Cavaliers have got a good boys team, and having to play on the road and the first district game, all of that cycled together. I'm sure that made for not well, I guess it was a tough night. All of that made for a tough night.
Yeah, it was the perfect storm. You talk about an hour and a half bus ride. You're playing against a team that's very good. You're playing in the gym that's very different than every gym. They've got the type of goals that you see in a NBA or a college arena. It was their homecoming. Their guys were amped up. We get about halfway through the first quarter. Our third leading scorer gets hurt, a serious injury, and everybody's kind of shaking up at that point. And it was the perfect storm. And we played well starting out, and then you could just kind of see that a lot of our guys were deflated. They're kind of worried about their teammate. And so, making no excuses, because Cook was a very good basketball team. But anything that could have gone wrong that night, it happened, And so, but again, we're talking about our youth and our inexperience, and those are the type of things we have to learn from it, understanding that adversity is going to hit, and you've got to keep playing, you got to keep pushing. So, like I said, Tuesday night was the perfect storm for what happened, and hopefully I think we learned from it and we can grow from that.
Let's see. In that game, you had all of that perfect storm, if you will, to go together, and with a team that is young, hasn't been in some of those situations and those atmospheres and all the travel and all that kind of thing, that just adds to that, I guess. That's part of the perfect storm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I hope that we can look back and say, all right, in a week or two months, a month or so, or whatever, we're going to the district tournament, we can lean on that experience and say, all right, this is what we learned from that first week. We go to Cookeville, we go through what we go through. Players getting hurt, long travel. Turn around, you play your rival that Friday. And I even think in our instance, we have some guys who kind of overlooked Cookeville, not because they're not good, because, us and Stewart's Creek is such a big rivalry, and just understanding that you got to take one game at a time, one possession at a time. So I hope that will, be a learning experience for us.
Well, you're getting all these long road games out of the way here. You've already been to Cookeville, and you go to Lebanon Tuesday and Wilson Central Friday. That dreaded S word is in the forecast, so that could definitely alter schedules too. And I know you probably hate that. Basketball coaches just hate that.
Yeah, it's good when you think about getting that day off of work, but then you're having to go back and readjust your schedule. You know, I've already been on the phone with Coach McDowell and Coach Baird trying to figure out, you know, if it snows and we're out, what day will we play? If it doesn't snow, you know, if you're out but it doesn't snow, can we still play? Just, you know, going through all that. So, you know, it looks good on the surface, you know, being able to get that day off, but then thinking about having to make these adjustments and travel plans and all these things. So it can be a little bit stressful at the same time also.
And I'm telling you, I've been around enough coaches to know if there's one little thing that's out of kilter, it throws
everything off.
Yeah, definitely want everything lined up. Well, we'll hope maybe the forecast for that is wrong. I'm sure that everybody's going to be, you know, all the kids, they don't care. They you know, do the flushing of ice cubes and all that kind of stuff. You know, they
backwards and all that.
They want out, but we'll see what happens next week. Coach, appreciate you spending some time with us this morning, and good luck. At least when you get all these road games out of the way, that means you'll be at home later on.
Absolutely, we finish up with a lot of home games, so it works out.
All right, Omar, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the Coach's Show brought to you by Dr. Automotive, the cure for your car, professional auto repair and maintenance from ASE certified master mechanics and mechanics out there at Dr. Automotive, AutoRepairSmyrna.com online.
What's your next dream? Paying off your credit card? Remodeling your kitchen? Whatever your dreams, they take planning. I'm State Farm Agent Dana Womack. Let's work together to come up with a plan to make those savings goals happen. Call me at 615-900-0877.
Local business owners, you know how important it is to be here for your customers. I'm State Farm Agent Emerson Williams, and I run a small business in Rutherford County too. And I'm here to help you protect your small business. Call me at 615-459-2683.
It's Brian. I want to tell you why I absolutely love First National Bank of Middle Tennessee. As soon as you go in or pull up to the drive-thru, there's always a hi, what can I do for you? I've been seeing the same faces for many, many years, and that says something about them. At First National Bank of Middle Tennessee, it's more than banking. It's about people. I guarantee you'll feel the same way. If you're not getting that from your bank, come on over with me to First National Bank of Middle Tennessee on Gateway and Memorial Boulevards. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Dr. Russell McKissick of Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance talks about the grassroots effort in our local schools to ensure proper care for players.
To make sure our teams are covered here locally, be there for our trainers. Yeah, it's a passion that we have to try to take care of our athletes here in town and be there just to keep everybody playing as healthy and as best they can.
From a community standpoint, one of the most important things you do at TOA, I'd guess.
I think it's definitely a way to pay back to our community, just to be there for them and watch some great sports too.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA, live your best life.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We're back on the Coach's Show, brought to you by Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, an independent agency offering auto, home, business, and life insurance since 1973. Find out more at Rayburn.net. Barry Wertman, the head coach of the Blackman Blaze, joins us here this morning. And, Coach, good morning. Hope you had a good holiday period and all that good stuff.
I did, Brian. Morning.
It's that seems like a distant memory now. January's always a fast start for basketball coaches, isn't it?
It really does. It sort of is a reset for everybody, and most people are into district play. So you're exactly right. It's a new time for everybody.
You know, I can remember, and I know you can as well, when we played 2, maybe 3 district games before Christmas, and now it's the second week of January before we start.
Yeah, I remember those days clearly.
And you kind of hated that too, because, you know, in boys, you're still getting maybe some players back, as Blackman's had football success over the years, and those can be tough district games to play early, so at least you don't have that to deal with now.
You're right. I remember that clearly, and I think the biggest challenge with that would be you have 3 district games before Christmas, and that could impact and then now you're getting into February and maybe somebody finished third, but really they might be the best team by the end of the year, and somebody may have been, first, and they're not, maybe they're fourth. So it made the tournament a little bit trickier in regards to who was clearly maybe the best teams in February. So I feel like where we are right now is pretty ideal for tournament play, seeding. I mean,
yeah, and the league this year. I know you've only played the one game because you had a bye, I guess, the first bye. It's. I thought last year was interesting. This year is going to be equally as interesting in terms of boys basketball because I think anybody can really play with anybody in the league again.
Yeah, we've always tried to educate our kids, and our kids are aware of this. But you just look across our state last night, and especially in Middle Tennessee, and then it happens every year. You get in district play, and no matter how well somebody may play these, and it really varies for every level of basketball. You know each other, especially in our city. The kids know each other. There's like a lot of just no surprises when you see scores. Maybe you'd be a little caught off guard initially, but that's district basketball or tournament basketball or league play, and it shrinks, and it's not surprising these games get really close and tight, and then you're playing people 2, 3, and sometimes 4 times. So that's the nature of district play.
Isn't that the people have asked me before why when you get to district tournaments are there so many upsets, and maybe when you get to the region tournament there's even an upset if you play someone in your district. And when you play someone 3, 4 times, the games, you mentioned the word shrink, and that's what made me think of that. The game does shrink, doesn't it?
It really does, So, we had a stretch there where we had some really, really good teams, and trying to beat people 2 and 3 and 4 times was so tough. And it almost gives the advantage to maybe somebody on the come, if you will, a little bit, teams, and especially if they're playing with spirit and confidence, and you can throw caution to the wind a little bit when you're maybe trying to beat somebody for the first time and you're playing them time 3 or 4. So it does. It's a especially in February and March. Anybody can win in tournament play.
That's part of the reason why they call basketball a tournament sport. But when you are playing some of the same teams that maybe you beat by 20, you could have a 2-possession game.
That's so true.
Yeah, and so it's fun. That's what makes basketball fun, I think. Last night you took on your rival in Riverdale and won that 52-34. And since Christian had 16 points last night, it looks like it was feed the beast inside.
Well, it was interesting. Garrison Eady's been so good for us and so steady. And when he was out there for a stretch, that was tough on our team. He's a steadying force, and he's played so well for us all year. But really, just every once in a while you have a guy on your team that you need to have on the floor. And we've had that over the years with certain players, and he's been that for us. And for him it was weird. He just got some really tough fouls that could never get him flow and rhythm. So one of the things I know that was rewarding for us, if you will, is that we were just able to handle that a little bit, and I thought that was one of the positives of the game, is to be able to play through some foul trouble, and then Christian was really good. He rebounded the ball out of his area, he executed on set plays, he guarded around the goal, so he was good, not only getting it in the goal for us, but also just his overall play.
Well, being able to notch the first district victory, that's always a very nice thing to do to get off to a good start.
Absolutely. We're big on road wins, and district play are hard to come by. So going on the road and starting out district play with a win was big for us.
Now, you mentioned Edie back, and how long was he out for you during?
He's a tough kid.
Yeah.
So he was out for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. 3 games, 7, 8 practices, and that's never tough. We had 4 guys out in that stretch. Dyson and CJ. So we've had some guys out during that stretch, and it obviously affected our play. You just don't recover from that. Coach Voss is dealing with the same thing right now as well. So but I think it galvanized our team and grew our team a little bit, forced us to play a little bit, a few more guys out of necessity, and hopefully we're getting a little return on that investment because some guys are starting to play well and play with some confidence, and more importantly that, our team is growing confidence and our players. So hopefully down the stretch that'll bode well for us.
Well, and also, and this may be, you've had some years where injuries have just been tough and probably situations that are tougher than what you've gone through this year, but maybe not recently. I mean, and
I don't know. I've been at it 33 years. I don't think I've ever had 6 guys in our program out at once, and they all did it on the last day of November, against Columbia in the first half. Dyson, came out with an injury in the first play of the third quarter, and then later that game, or the next game, excuse me, I guess we have 2 guys go down in practice, so it was just in about a 48-hour period. Our team totally changed. We had to go down and play and really in some, one thing if guys get hurt in a preseason and you sort of prepare for it, but when it just happens like that, our team had to sort of recover for it, and that's been a challenge. But again, I do think that we've had some really good practices. We got our team back, in regards at least everybody back on the practice floor. Dyson needs to find some rhythm. He will. He's a really good player. Led us in offensive rebounds last year, which is a huge part for us in regards to getting it in the goal. So I think our team is going to take shape. I really believe that. So we'll continue to try to grow our team and get better.
Well, between you and Jennifer, your 2 teams have kept doctors' offices very busy. So
I mean, she's never seen anything like it either. So it's just some of those things that happen, but all for a reason. Some of that adversity makes you better in your team, but more importantly, dealing with things in life. So hopefully our players and our program will grow from it.
Well, Barry Wortman's with us, the head coach of the Blackman Blaze. An ultimate compliment, I think, to you is, when you talk about district basketball, boys basketball this year, the Siegel has done some really great things. Oakland played them to overtime last night. You're obviously in the mix, but every time that it's mentioned about what about this team, what about that team, it's also mentioned, well, just look what Barry and the Blackman Blaze did last year. So, nobody's out. And, I think that's an ultimate compliment to your kids.
Well, we do have a lot of pride in our program, and we had former players at the game last night. Had some former players text me over the break. So I love our culture. I love what basketball means at Blackman High School, and I'm awfully proud of Team 24 and where they are. And I do think this team is going to play its best basketball down the stretch. That's yet to be seen, but they're connected, they're together, they like each other, they have fun, and we have some areas that we can improve. So that gives you some excitement too.
Well, and that's what you build. I mean, you don't build to be the best in November, do you?
Well, you obviously for an hour and a half on Tuesday and Friday, we tell everybody we're trying to. I mean, winning is the deal. But you're exactly right. I think growing your team and getting it to peak is something that does have a place, and
that's the key word, peak.
That's right, and hopefully we can do that. So it's sometimes even some injuries, even though you don't like them, they can help you, and I think it's really helped our team in regards to some guys playing. Jalen McDonald came in last night and played extremely well for us, and he's been really good in practice. So we're hoping guys like that can help elevate our team.
Well, you played one of the on Tuesday or Monday, one of the best teams in District 8, which are District 7. We're District 8 now here in Murfreesboro. So, and it was a 3-point ball game. A lot of people think maybe Laverne is the best team in that league. Not sure, but that has to give confidence going down the stretch when you've got the Oaklands and the Rockvales and the Seagulls left on your schedule here in the first go-around.
Absolutely. The one thing I'll say about our guys, we try to play everybody. Play Brentwood Academy today. So a lot of respect for Laverne. They're awfully talented, good team. It was a rematch of the region championship from last year. But that was a heck of a really good high school basketball game, and we had to sort of recover from an early deficit, and I thought that galvanized our team a little bit. I could tell that our team, even though we didn't play well early, we gained some confidence. The fact that we can battle back, and hopefully we'll get a return on that as we move forward.
So you're playing at 5 o'clock at you're playing at MBA, but you're playing Brentwood Academy?
That's right. It's a little public versus private games tonight. 4 really good high school games, and we play obviously a very talented, some people would say the best team in our state, and have a really good group. They got the McIntyre kid. I think everybody in the country recruiting him in football, but Division I basketball as well. They got the Tyler kid going to Vanderbilt, and a really, really good group of guys. We were up late last night as a staff, sort of preparing, and Coach Bell's got the advanced scout on them, and I'm just so well coached and play so well together. And that'll be a great test for our team, but hopefully it's one that'll help us as we talked about earlier, try to peak for down here in January and February. So it'll be a fun. We'll throw caution to win and really go try to play and have a lot of fun and compete at a high level and grow our team and hopefully get it better today.
That's at 5 o'clock versus Brentwood Academy next week. You've got Oakland and Rockvale on Tuesday, Friday, and we'll just have to wait and see what Mother Nature has in mind, right?
Yeah. I used to stress about that and worry about that and how you're going to navigate practices and things, and I think I've gotten a little bit better at that. It always seems to work out, but with the school day off Monday, that's always been a really fun day for our team. The practice, that's been a fun day. We do some things on that day over the years. And then we'll get to play 2 really important district games on Tuesday and Friday. So it'll be a fun week of basketball for our guys.
Coach, appreciate you coming in this morning. Always good to catch up. And I think Tuesday, I haven't even looked ahead, but I think Tuesday we've got the game on radio, so I'll talk to Mr. Lawless.
Awesome. Good. We're glad to have you on campus.
All right. That's Barry Wortman, the head coach of the Blackman Blaze, joining us this morning on the Coach's Show, brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric, serving our community by providing affordable, reliable, and safe electricity. More at mte.com.
How about a fix for your sweet tooth? Donut Country is open 24 hours a day to cure your cravings. They've been serving up the freshest donuts in Murfreesboro since 1978. There's just something different about donuts from Donut Country. Bo and Cindy Davis and their wonderful staff will greet you with a smile, and you'll see all donuts aren't created equal. Fresh donuts anytime you want them, 24/7 at Donut Country on Memorial down from Clark. And they're open each morning on Middle Tennessee Boulevard. Check out their Facebook page for specials and promotions. Nothing else compares to Donut Country. Open 24 hours.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the Law Offices of John Day. I've lived and worked as a lawyer in Middle Tennessee for over 30 years, and to me, every single day has been an honor. That's why our firm is so involved with community programs like bicycle helmet giveaways and our Safe Ride Home program. At the Law Offices of John Day, we're not just looking to make donations. We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coach's Show is brought to you by Carpets by Osborne, who would love to help you complete any job, whether residential or commercial. Carpet, tile, hardwood, vinyl, rugs, and more. Locally owned, online at carpetsbyosborne.com. I'm Danny Brewer. I'm extremely pleased now to be joined by Laverne head basketball coach Tony Rutland, mastermind of the game. Coach, how are we this morning?
I am good. Could be better, but I'm happy.
Well, Coach, I mean, we got to keep it all in perspective. I mean, you got to think about it. You've got all this glorious past. You've got a wonderful family. You got a great job. You got a good team. Now, Come on now. The week 2-0. Let's talk a little bit about the week that was.
Yep.
Tuesday night, you've had a couple district games. 2-0 in the district, right?
Yes.
So Tuesday night, 4 kids in double figures.
Yes.
In the win over Wilson Central. Talk about that a little bit. Good to have multiple players scored.
It was. I think it was needed for us. I think we've been after the Christmas break. I gave them off, and it was more of conditioning at Father Ryan tournament, and we were clicking before then. So we kind of used that for our condition, where practice and getting our wind back, but. Coming into the games on Monday and Tuesday, Wilson Central is a really good team. They press, play zone. They got good shooters, and our guys were able to come out and play. Steven Sherman came out to hit 7 threes. Landon, he's always going to be solid, and Dante played really well. So. To have 4 guys in double figures, it definitely was good. My point guard, Zai, has been playing really, really well of late, shooting the ball well, getting in the paint, and getting guys the ball when they need to get it in their space. So I'll take it. 2-0 in the district is probably the best I've at Laverne starting in the district. I think we've gone like 1-3 last year, and maybe 0-2 to start. But the thing about it is, I want my guys to understand. Like I'll take the wins, but we got to understand. We got to learn how to close out games when we're up. And in district play, those are the hardest games to close out.
Right. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute, but let's talk a little bit about last night's game at Lebanon, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what happened last night.
It was at our place. It
was at
it was at home. Lebanon is rebuilding. I think they lost a lot last year, and coach is doing really well over there. They have a solid guard over there that I think he scored like 27 points, and I think our thing was we did a really good job on the others. I think the closest one was at 9, and then everybody was at 2. But last night, we were up maybe around 20 points going into like the third or fourth quarter. We started subbing. And in practice, I always emphasize, like, when I start subbing, I don't want the level of play to go down. It either has to stay the same or go up. I need the energy. Good teams have that, and last night it kind of went down, and, we lost a significant 20-point lead, and we ended up winning by 11. But it was a learning curve for us. We're going to go back and watch film, show the guys who got in the game, the mistakes, bringing the energy. So hopefully next couple of games we'll be able to get it.
So let's talk a little bit about the piece to the puzzle you have, because you have some piece to the puzzle. Got a little bit of size.
Yes.
Got some good guard play.
Yep.
Got some kids that can shoot. Talk about the piece to the puzzle you have and how that some of them may be a little bit interchangeable.
They are. I think right now, the biggest upside for Landon Bryan is the ability to maybe go play combo. I think if he is able to establish that, I think the sky's the limit on the type of school he can go to, high D1. It doesn't matter. Once he becomes a solid combo guard, it'd be great. Dante White, he's our biggest, tallest guy, maybe almost in the district, but he also can face the basket. I have a couple of guys who play above the rim. I got Steven Sherman, who's a shooter. My point guard is very quick. I want everybody to play well together, just like a puzzle. It has to fit together and stay there for all 4 quarters. We'll, just like anybody who's putting a puzzle together, who gets bored or whatever, you'll put a puzzle together for a short period of time. You take it apart and you try to put it back together. And it looks great. So if we could just have that and make it a big picture so we can have it on the wall for the whole time, it'd be great. But we're getting there.
Yeah, framing the puzzle is one of the toughest parts, right?
It is. It definitely is. Especially with I woke up this morning and I'm like, the kids honestly reflect how I was as a player, and I'm like, man, we got to finish. But when I was in high school, me and AI, that's what we did. Allen Iverson, we were up 30, 40 points at half, and instead of us trying to close it out, we're out here trying to showboat and this and that. And, I didn't realize it until after you got older, when Coach Odom says, hey, act like you're supposed to win. Don't act like you're surprised that you won. And so, once the guys start getting it, and as coaches, we realize they are young, it'll be good.
taking it to the rack. One thing that because I was at the game Tuesday night, one thing that I like about your team is you got some kids that take it to the rack, and that's something you got to be proud of there.
I am. I don't want us to be just a strictly outside team. We can shoot the ball, but when teams make runs, you have to take it to the basket and stop their runs. Basketball is a game of runs. And once you stop those runs by taking to the basket, maybe get to the free throw line and stopping the momentum, you have to make sure you get to the basket.
So we talked to it, closing. That's what you want to see. Today in the Cal Cup Sprint, I'm a big horse racing guy, the Chosen Vron. He's running that. He's won 9 out of his last 10 races. And the reason he does that is because he closes so well. He runs to the finish line so well. Who do you have on your team that's going to become the Chosen Vron? I mean, I know your point guard he's got a little fire in his belly and all that stuff, but who on your team is going to become the Chosen Vron, or is it going to be more than one kid?
I think really it's a combination of Landon and Zai. My point guard and Landon Bryant, those are the ones that want the ball in their hands at the end of the game, the ones that knock down the free throws, the ones that make the big plays. So I think with those two, I would bet on those two to close the game.
There you go. That you got a couple of Chosen Vron, and that's good that you got more than one Chosen Vron. That's really good.
Yes.
So let's talk about the coming week. On the road Tuesday, I think big game at home on Friday. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, Tuesday on the road, which is a big game, is Cookeville. They're undefeated in the district as well, if the weather permits. If not, then I think we will reschedule probably for a Saturday game at our place. But then we have, down the road rival with Stewart's Creek. So both games are very, very crucial for us. I think Stewart's Creek won 2 games. So it's a matter of, who's going to lose the first district game. And it's very important to get those wins in the first half of the district.
When you talk about a smaller district of sorts, because
yes.
What is it, 16 district?
Yes,
is that right?
it is.
So that makes every game really, really important, right?
It does, and the earlier the better, because you never want to put that pressure on the kids, and a lot of them haven't been in that situation before. We have, but to get those early wins is very important. I think I heard Coach Workman earlier talk about having games before January and then coming in towards the end. You want to be, the team that's coming in towards the end, like March Madness. You want to be the hottest team coming in towards the end.
Peaking at the right time is very important. The growth of this team so far, you happy with the growth?
I'm definitely happy. I'm never going to let them know that I'm happy, because I want them to improve every day. I'm going to stay on top of them, and I always tell them, like, if I don't say this, then you have to worry. But if I'm on you to improve, it means that I know that you got it in you. So I'm very pleased with everybody on the team. I see improvement, and it's just a matter of just everybody just coming together and putting it together.
Do your kids understand that, you think?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I always say it's a good cop, bad cop, and, I'm always the bad cop at times, but it takes growth, and I think we're growing.
Well, I think you are too. And so if you want to see a good basketball game, I'd say Friday night is going to be a real hot contest down there at Laverne when Stewart's Creek comes to town. Tony Rutland, you heard him name drop. Allen Iverson,
yes.
Dave Odom. And I'm going to say this. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The reason that Tim Duncan is partly because of Tony Rutland there at Wake Forest. Coach, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We certainly wish you the best of luck. Tony Rutland, Laverne High School. We'll be right back with more on the Coach's Corner. The Coach's Show is brought to you by Rick's Barbecue, serving up the best smoked barbecue, ribs, and many local favorites on Warrior Drive, locally operated by Anne-Marie Brents and the Lanning family.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
Whether you have a quarter acre or several, Las Casas Feed Supply has premium feeds and dog foods you can't find in box stores.
Nutrition is our specialty here at Las Casas Feed.
Plus, every Saturday morning they have a local producer-only farmers market with fresh vegetables, beef, pork, and more.
Customer service and expertise that exceeds your expectations.
Family owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, Las Casas Feed Supply on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East in Las Casas.
Life changes, then it changes again. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. A job loss, change in health, or loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure that you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Stop by our office in the Public Shopping Center on South Rutherford Boulevard or give us a call at 615-907-7056 for an appointment. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Ring Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Rayburn Insurance in Smyrna.
Come see me, Rick Hall, at Rayburn Insurance in downtown Smyrna today.
Online at rayburn.net.
This is Primetime Sports, WGNS Murfreesboro, on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com. The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro, on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by First National Bank of Middle Tennessee. If you're looking for a hometown feel with your bank, turn to First National Bank of Middle Tennessee, offering full-service banking and mortgage services. I'm Danny Brewer. I'm extremely pleased to be joined by Oakland head boys basketball coach Dyron Birdwell. Coach Birdwell, how are you?
I'm good, man. Y'all doing all right?
Yes, sir. Okay, so I've never asked you this, but is Dyron Nix?
Yep.
Is that who you're named after?
It is, yeah.
Dyron Nix?
Yeah, I was, which it's funny, of course, we're huge Tennessee fans, but my grandfather's middle name was Payton, P-A-Y, and that was going to be my name. And, of course, we're from Macon County where there's, at that point in time, 25,000 people in the whole county. And Mom and Dad had a friend that named their son Payton, and they're like, well, we don't want to do the same thing. And Mom and Dad went to the game against Tennessee Tech in Knoxville, and Dyron Nix had, I think, 38 or something like that. And I guess in the middle of the game, I think Mom looked at Dad and said, Dyron, that's different. And he played well, and of course it kind of stuck, and that's what they went with. And unique, I guess it's different. During roll call growing up, you had to make sure that everybody knew how to say it. But it was, it's who I was named after when I was at Tennessee. I was fortunate enough to meet him. I've got my picture made with Dyron Nix. He is, unfortunately, I think, passed away since then. But it was neat to meet your namesake, and like I said, we're such a big Orange family that. It's I guess fun story and interesting to see. I didn't have the Jerry curl or the hops that he had, I guess, but definitely that's who I was named after.
Well, and that was one of the things that I was going to say is he was known, of course, in our circles because we were a bunch of my buddies and I, Tennessee fans, watched lots of Tennessee basketball and stuff when he was playing, and we always, one of my buddies, actually, he got the back of his hair perm because he wanted to be like Dyron Nix because, like I said, you see them curls flowing, and man, the guy could play. Talk about scoring the basketball.
Yeah, he could, man. He scored at all levels, made it hard to guard, and he was definitely one of the I guess Tennessee greats that they've had up there.
Yeah, which we're going to roll back in him here in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the week that was. I think split. You won Tuesday and lost Friday. So let's talk about Tuesday night's game a little bit. Tell me about what happened.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd prefer not to give anyone else any more free basketball this year. That's our third overtime game this year. We played 2 this week. Go to Rockville. We've been struggling. I think we lost 10 straight. Didn't play well really about the whole month of December. Couldn't score it. Felt felt like we played slow, lethargic. Of course, some of that, you're adding football guys. We're inexperienced. We're young. We're trying to figure out what we do well, and some stuff that I threw out there probably didn't work. Some stuff did, and we played Beach right after the New Year at Beach, and Beach punched us in the mouth. We're down like 22 at half, and we kind of had a heart-to-heart of trying to figure out who we are and what we want to be this year, and came out in the second half, played really well, cut it to 10 against a really good Beach team, and had a chance to cut it closer, and we said, that's kind of got to be the turning point of the season if we're going to be very successful. And we go to Rockville Tuesday night, and like I told you, we hadn't scored 30 and a half since November, and we come out and we have 40 in the first half against Rockville, and played really well. Rockville made some shots, made a run. We got up 16. They come back, cut it to 1 or so, and we'd go back up 7 or 8. They'd come back, and then there at the end of the game, they take a 1-point lead. Bronson Chris scores with about 30 seconds to go to put us up by 1. And then we get a stop, and Bronson, he knows this, but, kind of got a little too excited, didn't control his emotions very well, and gets technical, and it, went from having a game-winning play to could have been a game, losing play. It was his second of the game. He gets ejected. Rockville goes to the line, 2 free throws and the ball with 2 seconds left to beat us, and we were fortunate that the kid missed a second free throw, and we got to go play overtime, and then in overtime, we played really well. We're like I've said, there's times this year when the year started, we were young, and in places that we weren't young, we were inexperienced, and it was big for us to find a way to win that game. I think we scored 10 points in the fourth quarter and then scored 14 points in overtime, so figure that out. But some guys really stepped up. Isaiah Verge has had a great week for us. He played really well. Avery Carter, our 5-man's played really well this week. Brian Haggard, freshman, has kept on coming along with us. Josiah Cobb came off the bench against Rockville and had 14 points, and then, of course, had to start last night with Bronson being out against a really good Siegel team. But, yeah, I thought we played a lot better. Still some things we got to work on a little defensively, but I think we're starting to understand and kind of see our identity as a basketball team and what we need to do moving forward to be successful and have a chance to compete in our league.
Well, Coach, you touched on this, and obviously you've done a better job this week of playing string music, figuring out how to play that string music,
That's
right?
Right, yeah. We, that's the name of the game, obviously you can defend and rebound, and that keeps you in every game. And that's something that we hang our hat on, that, we're going to teach kids, and, we've been okay at it. We haven't played it great, and, we have some deficiencies in spots that people expose, but if you can't put the ball in the hole, you don't give yourself a chance, and that's something that, I was listening to a podcast actually this week on the NBA, and they're talking to Doc Rivers, and they asked him what were the 2 things that you always think of when you get beat in the playoffs, and he said the first thing is we need more shooting. He said that's always the first one, and the second one is team chemistry and how to build it. But if you can't score the ball, it definitely puts your team at a disadvantage, and I think it lowers your ceiling as far as you can go, because come February and March, you need really good guard play, and you got to put the ball in the hole, and hopefully we're starting to do that.
I've talked to Doc Rivers before, and he's a great basketball mind. The guy, really, he understands the game very well, a great basketball mind. So let's talk a little bit about making some of the string music in a way that every team needs to. Free throws. Talk about your free throw shooting, Coach, and what you want to see there.
Oh, well, last night I think it cost us. We're not overly great shooters right now within the program. We got some good young guys that are shooting it. I actually just left JV game to come here, and a lot of that's getting in the gym. I can't remember what we were against Rockville, but we shot it pretty well, and we've had free throw games cost us. Cost us against York earlier in the year, and then I think last night we were 12 of 23, and Siegel's 30 of 37, and you lose in overtime. So that's definitely a big part of it. I think free throws are repetition and routine, and getting that muscle memory and being in the gym. It's like I tell our guys, you can't just go home and play PlayStation or whatever and hit that X button until that guy becomes a really good shooter. You got to get in the gym. That's just kind of how it works. But yeah, that free throw shooting would be, I think it's kind of our next step, and I think some of it is we're playing harder. And, when you play harder, your adrenaline gets up, you get tired, and then during a game, you got to adjust to that. And that's what, we may have to do a little bit better job of in practice is simulating that. And hopefully that we'll see our free throw percentage go up and keep getting better. And, like we said, right now we're trying to put ourselves in the best position come February for district tournament and hopefully beyond. But key to the rest of the year is going to be, taking our mistakes that are kind of costing us in these close games and getting rid of them. And one of those is obviously free throws.
So, Coach, we talked about Dyron Nix earlier. Let's talk about Dyron Nix now. You're the Dyron Nix of Oakland High School. Is that Isaiah Verge? Is that who that is right now for you?
He's played really well this week. I think he had 23 points and 9 rebounds against Rockville. Finally starting to get into a groove and understand what we need of him. And then last night, I think he had 29. He played really well last night. I think he had 29. Avery Carter had 21 against Siegel last night. He had 18 against Rockville. And then Brian Haggard, my freshman, had 21 last night. I think he had 9 against Rockville. Didn't play as well as he can, but had 21 last night. So those three guys combined for 71 of our 79 last night. Just scoring kind of in different ways. We're better, obviously, in transition. We got to get it out and run. But then now these two post guys have, started to understand that you've got to have a post move. Whatever it is, you got to have one. Whether it be, a jump hook or bait and hook or a shimmy or whatever.
Turnaround jumper, whatever, right?
Yeah, whatever it is. You don't have to. You don't have to be Elijah Wan or Kevin McHale, but you got to have a move and you got to have a counter to it. And we've started to show that a little bit. And then once those guys play well, it kind of, you've got to be able to score the ball in the paint, I think, in basketball, whether that be throwing it inside, driving it, whatever. And then that kind of loosens up the defense. And that's when you get more open threes and open looks. And hopefully with those couple guys coming on here, hopefully they'll continue to play well, and that gives us an opportunity moving forward to continue to have some success on offense.
Coach, talk about what you got coming up this week.
Snow, the way it sounds. Now, hopefully not. We've got Blackman on Tuesday. Obviously, Coach Workman does such a good job. He's a great coach. He's a legend for the area, for the state. Won a state title, beat us when I was an assistant at Oak Ridge. His teams are always ready to play, ready to defend. He's one of the best defensive coaches in the state, if not the best, in my opinion. That he'll have them ready. We'll have to go over there and play well Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, whenever we're able to play the game. And then Friday, we've got Riverdale at home. It'll be our first home game since December. We got 6 straight. And then Saturday, my old stomping grounds, Oak Ridge comes, which Coach Green's got a really good team this year. Be a good test for us in January for a team that is expecting to be at the state tournament to come into our gym and kind of see where we're at, with somebody from East Tennessee. And hopefully we keep getting better and grinding, and I think it'll be a good test for us moving forward. But crazy to think, I think I looked at the schedule, we've only got like 9 games left after tonight before district tournament starts. So just crazy how fast the year goes, but 3 definitely tough games coming up this week, and hopefully we continue to take what we've been doing this week and we played better and continue to improve as we move forward throughout the rest of the year.
Time flies when you're having fun. Dyron Birdwell, he may not have the Jerry curl, but the guy flat knows the game. I'm telling you, get over there to Oakland and watch the Tuesday night game if it happens, or whenever it happens with Blackman. It ought to be a shootout. Really good game. Coach, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA, the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic surgery group in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at TOA.com.
Head over to J. Mullins Jewelry to check out their selection of rings, watches, custom design jewelry, and much more. They're a local business located at 352 West Northville Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. They have gifts for all occasions, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, whatever you need, you can find it at J. Mullins Jewelry. That's at 352 West Northville Boulevard or online at mullinsjewelry.com.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive offers complete tax preparation, financial, and bookkeeping services.
This is Brett Craig with Craig's Tax Service. From personal tax preparation to business bookkeeping, payroll, and taxes, at Craig's Tax Service, our staff is here to help.
Get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
As a former Siegel Star football player, I know the importance of the high school sports experience. Good luck to all county student athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
Dr. Automotive is the cure for your car. Brothers Danny and Randy Brewer have been providing Rutherford County with ASE certified auto repair for nearly 20 years. You'll receive courteous and friendly customer service every time. Why? Because we grew up here and you are our neighbors. Foreign and domestic auto repair and maintenance on Hazelwood Drive in Smyrna, just off I-24. SmyrnaAutorepair.com, 615-220-0971. Just ask for Danny.
This Fanceroni pepperoni is fancy.
Am I fancy enough for the Fanceroni? I'm wearing cargo shorts.
But Tim, so am I.
Try the Fanceroni pepperoni with over 100 old-world pepperoni. Little Caesars changed the Hot and Ready Classic and added 33% more pepperoni, which makes it 133% better pizza than before. It's really good. Order a new Classic online and use our convenient Pizza Portal pickup.
In Murfreesboro on Memorial, Warrior Drive, South Church, and Old Fort.
Pizza, pizza.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, family owned and operated since 1977. Get the best service with Prentice Allsup Heating and Air online at PrenticeAllsup.com. I'm Danny Brewer. I am joined now by Stewart's Creek head basketball coach Matt Bradshaw. Coach, how are we this morning?
Good morning, Danny. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, Coach. Doing quite well. Let's talk a little bit. We're going to, before we get rolling into what's happened this week, which I know was a good week for Stewart's Creek, let's talk about life at the Creek for you. Is this your second year as a head coach at Stewart's Creek?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so talk a little bit about life on the Creek for you now that it's year two.
It's been going really well. Enjoy the administration. Enjoy the place to work. Kids are got a great group of young men to coach. It's a pleasure to go in and work with them every day. I got a great staff with Coach Jones and Coach Gibbons, so everything is really well. Got 2 wins this week, so things have got looking up for sure.
Well, yeah, let's talk about this week. 2-0 in the district because both were district games, right?
Yes, sir.
So 2-0 in the district. Let's talk first about Tuesday night. Tell me a little bit about what happened Tuesday night and what you liked from that game.
Went to Lebanon. First time we'd ever really kind of traveled to Lebanon, and new opponent in the district. So we were kind of gotten familiar with the old district opponents, and so kind of going into another place, another atmosphere. We played really well for a stretch, especially in the first half, and then we kind of went through a small stretch of the kind of the end of the third, start of the fourth, where we just really couldn't make any shots. I think we went 1 for 14 at one point in stretch in that time. So we had a 15-point lead, and they trimmed it to 4, and we managed to make some shots and make some plays down the stretch and make some free throws to kind of seal it up. So it was a good first district win on the road for us. Learning how this group we're young, inexperienced, and probably we have 2 seniors. So we're a little bit more on the unexperienced side. And so learning how to win for this group is a big deal, especially in adverse situations where sometimes maybe things don't go our way and we have some adversity hits us. Learning how to fight through that and learning how to win through it is a big deal.
Let's talk a little bit about last night's game at Smyrna. Big win for your group. I was there at the game, and it has to be encouraging you for a coach. The way that game started, Smyrna shot the ball extremely well, had an 8-point lead most of the first half, but the second half, your guys really turned it on and stepped it up, and you come away with a big win last night.
Yeah, I mean, they did, and we knew that, and that was part of the scouting report. They shoot a lot of contested threes and a lot of deep threes, and we even told our guys in the scouting report, listen, they're going to make some. You just need to go ahead and expect it. I think the fact for us was, even I just texted my assistants before I got a phone call from you guys, was if I told you we were only going to make 1-3 and win by 13 or 14 last night, what would you say? And they were like, no way. And, we made 1-3 last night. We were 0 for in the first half, and we managed to make 1, I think, in the second half. So we didn't shoot it extremely well from the outside, but we figured out a good way to get the ball inside. We did a good job of finishing around the rim, which is something that we've kind of put an emphasis on. And I was proud of the guys, of, again, adverse situation. And I think we're learning how to win from that standpoint of things don't always go our way, exactly how we draw it up or things of that nature, and figuring out a way to win and get on the right side of the scoreboard is a big factor. And I thought it was a big week for us from that perspective.
I think one of the things that also was a key for you guys last night was the offensive rebounding. You guys did a really good job on both ends as far as on the boards, but talk a little bit about the offensive rebounding last night.
Yeah, it was a point of emphasis we talked about this week just because we did a little better job of it at Lebanon. We've gone through some stretches this year where offensive rebounding has just not been something that we were very good at. And we've kind of put an emphasis on it in practice and doing some different stuff. So it was good that to see our guys scrambling, fighting for offensive boards. We call them 50-50 balls because at the end of the day, it's what it is. It's a 50-50. Whoever wants it the most is going to go get it. And so I was proud of our guys last night really competing. We did a good job of some of the guys coming off the bench, plugging in and playing and doing a good job as far as, scrapping, getting on the floor, grabbing some loose balls, getting things taken care of that we've not done a good job maybe in the part of, middle part of December we were kind of struggling at. So I was really pleased at how we, at halftime I told the guys, listen, we're down 3 and really not that worried about it because I felt like, we, like you said, we got down 9 at one point in time. It was like, okay, they've made some shots. We just need to put the ball in the basket a little bit better because we hadn't really turned the ball over. We forced them into some turnovers. And so second half, it was kind of like once we finally grabbed the lead, you could kind of see the look on our guys' faces, and we kind of just began to stretch it from there. So,
Coach, I know you had, I think, 3 guys in double figures last night, but you may have had more if kids, but here's the thing. Here's my point. You substitute 5 at a time sometimes. That's like the old Dean Smith stuff. Didn't he have like the blue team or something where he would substitute 5? Was that Dean Smith that did that where he would substitute all 5 at one time?
Yes. I mean, we do it at different times, and I would have done it more last night, but once you get to a 9-point hole, it's like, well, scrap that game plan. We're going to something different. And I told the guys that at halftime. I was like, listen, I'm not coaching out of a 9-point hole. I mean, it's, we're going to have to go out here and make some plays and do some different work. But, I mean, we have and I think the goal for us with it is we have such a young group, and continuing to find ways to get guys experience, I think, for us is something that we've talked about as a staff as far as just, being conscious as a staff to throw kids out there, get them some reps, even if it's 3 or 4 minutes a game, it's 3 or 4 minutes they weren't getting, and being on the floor in the situation. Sometimes kids respond. Sometimes kids, go out there and turn it over a couple times. And, everybody has to learn some way, somehow. And so one thing we've kind of made an emphasis on, especially in year 2, as far as just especially our younger kids, some sophomores. I mean, we're starting a freshman right now. We're giving kids opportunities and let them make the most of those opportunities for them.
Coach, that was one of the points I was going to make, and then I'm going to get back to this 5-on-5. The freshman center that you started, he's a kid that definitely has some potential. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Well, I mean, I think he's made past the potential phase. He does a really good job for us. Sean he's a fantastic young man. He's a sponge. I mean, anything you tell him, he's soaking it up. I think the key for Sean is, we kind of knew coming in that he was going to be a kid that we were going to be able to play and count on. And then once kind of the game slowed down for him a little bit, and I mean, from the standpoint of being a freshman and varsity experience, you can kind of tell a couple about the mid part of November and kind of 1st of December, the game was a little too fast, and he was making things just a little too quick decisions. But you can see now a complete difference between him and where he's at with his game right now as far as just the game slowing down for him. And he did a great job. I think he had 14 last night and had 20 at Lebanon the other night. So, I mean, he's doing a good job as far as just plugging and playing, doing things that we know he can do. He got in a little bit of foul trouble, probably would have been in the game a little bit more last night, but we kind of managed to work around it as best we can and did a great job.
Because definitely, if you know the game, when you watch him and the things he does, you can see that the kid that yes, he's got it. He certainly does. Yeah. So I'm not gonna ask you to spill all of your strategic beans here, but do you have, like, when you do this 5-on-5, do you have is this group? Okay, so we've got these 5 players, we've got these 5 players, or do you interchange them some, and is it mix and match thing? Do you have that liberty to do that with the kids you have?
I've kind of, with my groups right now, kind of have it evened up as far as just what I want each group to be able to do. And they're both different, if that makes sense. But if I have to combine groups, then different peoples are going in different spots. So it's kind of multi-changeable. But when I go into groups, I kind of do it from the standpoint of kind of, I got this team is doing one thing and I got this team is doing a completely other different thing. And both can do each other's tasks. So it's kind of one of those things that we can able to make adjustments out of. And I think more for the second group, we got about 2 guys on that group that really where it's just like, I want to be able to play you. I want to be able to put some things in there, and I want them to go out and do well and do some different things. And they did a good job. They've done a good job since we've kind of gone to it probably about 3 weeks ago. They've done a really good job. Last night wasn't necessarily all their fault. It was just Smyrna made some shots and kind of dug us in a hole, and I was like, well, we got to dig out of the hole. So that was kind of what it boiled down to.
Right, because realistically, there was no like big for me as a casual observer. There was no big change when one team's out there versus the other. It wasn't like you had to drop off or anything like that. I mean, everybody did their job quite well.
Yeah. You give Smyrna credit. They were just making some shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, so what does this do for you at practice when you have all these kids that can play and are playing? Does that make practices pretty competitive?
Yes, and that's kind of what we've worked on from that standpoint, as far as just trying to make practice competitive, but also at the same time, we're able to get reps with 10 people, but it's also enabled us. One thing we've noticed also, as you get down to this time of the year, you're cutting practice time for your main guys, because you're rotating groups and you're doing stuff, so you're able to get fresh, get your reps, and then you're not killing everybody, especially your first 5 or 7, constantly getting them reps in practice. You're getting other kids reps in practice, so it's able to stay fresh, hopefully kind of save your legs, and that way you're fresh come postseason time.
Coach, let's talk real quickly about what you got coming up. I think it's at Wilson Central, then big game on Friday at Laverne.
Yeah. I mean, Tuesday night's one of those facts. I mean, we feel like when we look at our schedule, we needed to make sure that we understand where we're at in the district as far as when we got to Laverne. It's going to be really key to be in the top 2 seeds of this district, and you get an automatic berth to the region. So kind of finishing the top 2 is a big deal. We know who Laverne is as far as they got a good group of returning guys, and they're very talented. So both games on the road this week will be tough atmospheres, tough environments. That is, if we do get to play them, hopefully, and it doesn't snowmageddon like they're talking about it's going to happen. So we'll see.
Well, Coach, maybe, a lot of times when they talk snow, we don't get it. When they don't talk it, we do get it. So, it's so you never know. Of course,
exactly.
Yeah, we've got a part-time meteorologist on staff here, Brian Barrett. We'll consult with him to see what he thinks before we get out here. But anyway, Coach Matt Bradshaw, you're doing great things over there at Stewart's Creek. We really appreciate having you as part of Rutherford County High School basketball. We appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Y'all do a great job. Appreciate all your work.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by JHA Company, Josh Houston and Associates, jewelry, letter jackets, yearbooks, graduation products, and more online at jhacompany.com.
Parks Auction. We handle everything.
You have a staff that comes to your home. They tell you what to do. They walk you through it. It's been my experience that what I thought I should get for my home, I got much more for it.
Visit our website at parksauction.com.
Hi there, do I have a
Parks Auction, 896-4600. Stan Vaught and the Parks Auction team are proud supporters of local high school and MTSU sports.
Sold it to you.
You've heard people say, you know your work by your name, but there's no better name for residential and business concrete work than Dan France Concrete. From basic slabs to decorative stamping, for your next concrete project, call Dan France Concrete, 615-642-5152.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Trust me, Dan is committed to the community and will offer you a great product. He'll stand behind his work and make sure you're satisfied with every aspect of the work. Dan France Concrete.
Here's a question. What do you want from your electric co-op?
I want expert advice on going 100% solar.
I want to go green without breaking the bank.
I want to meet my sustainability goals.
I want solar to be simple.
Done, 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 done.
I want to save the planet.
Little hero, let's start with one of MTE's solar programs first. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at MTE.com.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin, who will work with you to develop a complete, tailored strategy to help you achieve your financial goals. That's Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. I'm Danny Brewer. I'm very pleased to be joined on the Coach Corner now by Rockvale head basketball coach Wendell Ingram, a coaching machine. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Danny. I'm great. Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about the week that was. First, I guess we'll lead off with what we were just going to talk about. Last night's game with Hendersonville got canceled. What happened there, do you think?
About 12 o'clock yesterday, I guess it got a little cloudy outside, and the coach called us and said that their AD and county AD said they didn't want them to travel out of the county last night because of the potential wind and cold that came in. I think that's the best thing to say without getting in trouble. But I think it's I think they got some injuries that they're dealing with, and they're in district play, and what other way to get out of a game to blame it on Mother Nature?
Well, Coach, you don't have to say it. I'm going to say it. This is the first time I've ever heard of a basketball game being canceled because of cold weather. I understand inclement weather, but cold weather, it's but hey, I think that you got heat in the gym, don't you? I'm not going to say anything else.
We got heat, and I think our concession stands is selling hot chocolate these days.
There you go. There you go. Well, And I understand it's a non-district game, but still, for you, every game is important, especially this time of year, right?
Yeah. Our guys was ready. They was locked in. I guess you can use the word they was a little mad because of the game on Tuesday. So they wanted to take their frustrations out on someone that they don't get dressed with in the locker room on a daily basis. So that was a game that we was definitely wanting to try some stuff to work on to get ready for our next district game next week. But, things happen, and Mother Nature won and Rockvale 0.
There you go. I guess, which you don't. I think it's usually Mother Nature 1 and everybody else 0 most all the time. But let's talk a little bit about Tuesday night. Tough overtime loss for you guys. Tell me a little bit about what happened in that game.
That game right there was one of those ones where we wanted to change the narrative a little bit. This group of guys have yet to beat Oakland in district play, and that was one of the goals they had set beginning of the season. And we got down a little bit, and Oakland came out. I think his name is Isaiah Verge. He was hot. He was hitting shots that we didn't see on film. They also had a freshman that came in and played pretty well. Hit us across the map a little bit. But, of course, our guys, we believe in just playing to the end. So we found a way to crawl back into it. And they gave us a game on an issue with a tech toward the end of the game, and we handed it right back to them by not securing that last free throw that we could have won with 1.8 seconds left because we would have got the ball back out to the Tech. You know, that's a guy that we put on the free throw line that's going to make those. And if the situation happened again, he gets his number called again, and he probably would, hit it. He was down on himself a little bit, but I told him that's not what lost the game. It was things that we didn't get done in the first, second, third, and fourth quarter that outweighs the bad toward the end. So,
well, as a coach, that's a great teaching moment for you. I mean, even though the kid missed the free throw, that still is a great teaching moment for you, isn't it?
Yes, we ended practice the next day. Same scenario. We did it again, and he went to the free throw line and he did the exact same thing that he did that Tuesday night. He got mad. He took the ball, threw it across the court, and we had practice yesterday. Same scenario, same kid, and he goes and knocks it down. So I told him the problem that you should be worried about it is if I no longer call your number. But as long as I'm calling your number, know that I believe in you, which I do. Been knowing it for a long time, and it's going to happen the same way.
Well, you're building life lessons there, right? Because,
yes,
that's what life throws at you, too.
Yes. So, good kid. He got to school the next day. Faculty, admin came up to him, high-fived him, said, hey, we're good. We're going to be all right. He said the good thing about him, you get to play them again, and you got other games down the road. He's just a junior, so he'll be good.
Right, exactly. And, what you hope is that this builds that fire in that belly.
Oh, it is. Trust me, he's a competitive player. He also plays baseball. So I'm pretty sure he'll have it in the back of his head because that same kid is pretty good for Oakland, plays baseball as well. So he told me, he said, hey, I see him from the mound.
Well, and the thing about it is, if it didn't bother him, that's when you would get worried.
Yeah. He was the last one in the locker room when we got dressed at the end of that game, and he was the last one to leave. He started his car up. I said, man, your car been running a while. It's time to go. And he was just, a little down on himself. And I talked to him through the window, and I said, hey, man, it's 30 degrees out here. I can't sit out here with you too long. And he's just a kid, man. He loves this game, and he was first one in the gym the next day shooting free throws. So
very good. Well, that's what you want to see as a coach.
Definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about the Rockvale way and what you're trying to establish. You said something very interesting there. You've never beaten Oakland in district play. And Oakland, they may not be they're good in all sports, but still, they're kind of one of those schools that you put at the top because they are good in all sports. Talk about what you're trying to instill at Rockvale as far as pride and developing the tradition there.
That's our thing. We see those programs like Oakland and Blackman and Riverdale and Siegel and things like that, and we're in the same city with those schools, and we want to be exactly like them. We want to be able to say, hey, when you come to our school, we don't want to celebrate and tear down the nets because we beat Riverdale or Oakland. We want to be able to shake hands at the end of the game knowing that we're just like you guys. Good stored program. It's just we want to build a culture to where we don't want you to play us on senior night and homecoming. We want to be able to say we're playing this school because we're going to pack the house. We're going to get good gate money. These guys play hard. They got a good culture. And that's what we're trying to do over here at Rockvale. And I think we're doing it. I know for a fact we're making the steps to do it. Footballs, they turn the corner. Soccer, baseball, softball, girls basketball. So we're just trying to have it to where when you say Rockvale, you got to be able to say winners at the end of it. Not just Rockvale, new school, 5 years. They're down the street from one Subway and a Dollar General. We want you to be able to talk about us and say, hey, that's a program that's up and coming. They play hard. Their guys are respectful, good fan base. I love going there. One guy came up to me. He don't even have kids who play. And he said, man, you guys, I followed you guys last year. You just play hard. You don't give up. I love it. He has a little son that's like in the third grade. And he said, I just bring him to the game because y'all play hard. Y'all, you're respectful. Your guys don't get texts. You don't talk back. You don't do that. And that's what makes it count when you got 95 kids to come to your kid camp and they're just wanting to be on the court that they see magic happens on Tuesdays and Friday nights. That's basically what it is.
Wanting to be a Rockvale Rocket. That's what you're striving for, right?
Rock is up. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. The rock is up. So let's talk a little bit about what you're building there as far as the team you have now. The progress that you've made from day one of practice to right now. Are you happy with where you're at?
Yeah. We're starting right now one senior, 4 juniors. We got 2 sophomores that come off the bench. We got 2 freshmen that dresses. 1 freshman plays a lot. So the thing about it makes me feel good knowing that when I'm getting the huddle report break down the stats that I'm playing 11 guys a night. So to compete in this district and be able to go deep in this district, you got to be able to look down at your bench and not pray before you make your decision or keep a rabbit foot in your pocket hoping that you got good luck to making the right decision, man. It's just, I know that when I put you in the game, I can just continue to coach the way I do because I know that you can handle it. I think a lot of times I talk to a lot of the coaches and they're like, man, you guys are playing 11 and 12 players. That's what it is. It's not a lot of coaches coach for the moment. I'm coaching for tomorrow and for next year and the following year because you never know the way this county is and this transfer portal, you may lose a kid and you got to be able to have someone to step up or, you know.
Exactly right. Well, and that's what you call building a program. Am I right, Coach?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir, it is.
So when we talk about, playing lots of kids, obviously leadership is an important part of any team. Talk about the leaders you got on this team.
Man, Daryl Cotton is probably one of our biggest leaders right now. He's a senior. He's going to graduate as probably one of the all-time scoring guys, even though we've been there for 5 years. I think he's about 713 points, I think the last time I checked. He can shoot the lights out the ball. Next guy is my guy who we just talked about from the free throws, Ty Newton. Man, he's tough weight room guy. Him and Braylon, they get in the weight room first, the last one to leave. Maxwell Blake is a senior who last year, man, I probably was his favorite person because he had been playing and starting for 2 years before I got there, and I came in and didn't get him the minutes that he wanted, but he was still the first one in practice, last one to leave, and he's put in work this summer, and he's gotten better. Malachi Long had a great game for us the other night. He came off of an ACL injury last year. That if we would have had him last year, I think we could have been district champs, but he finished the game the other night with 23 points. So when we get scoring like 23 from him and 18 from Durrell and 12 from Ty and things like that, we're going to be a tough team to deal with.
Lots of scoring options. That's good for you as a team, but good for you as a coach too, right?
Yes, definitely. It is. And they know what my expectations are. I'm not Bobby Knight when I come in there. I'm not throwing any chairs. It's just I tell them, I do yell a lot, but when you start listening to what I'm saying and not how I'm saying it, then we grow as a program. So a lot of times I yell and I'm kind of like Hollywood. I really don't be saying anything. I just be wanting to be loud. And sometimes I repeat myself when I'm talking. They're like, oh, man, after the season, they'll be like, Coach, you really just be talking, stuff like that. We joke about it. I just make a lot of noise. That's all I do.
Well, that's okay because you make a lot of noise. Your team makes a lot of noise. That's what you want.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, sir.
So let's talk about what you got coming up this week for Rockville.
Tuesday night, we got Siegel coming to the place. They've been playing very, very well. They're hot right now. They got a great scorer in Carter Webb and Mac Moss and them, and Coach Rigsby's doing a fantastic job with them. I think they're ranked like number 2 or 3 in the state. We got them on Tuesday, and then we got to play Cascade in another district game on Thursday as a makeup game from last year. And then Friday we got homecoming against Blackman. A lot of people was like, well, why you didn't play Cascade on homecoming in Black? It's a financial mind frame. You want to pack the house for homecoming, big district game. Blackman has a good fan base. Rockville, great fan base, and Coach Wortman to me is the guy, the coach that I want to be, and so it's gonna be a good one. Our guys, they play up for Blackman, and it's gonna be a great game.
Well, I think that the one thing that you're doing that's fantastic is you are creating a culture at Rockville High School, and that's fantastic. You've only been there 5 years, but you've already got it going on as far as the school stuff because this is your 3rd year, right?
My second year.
Second year.
Your second year there, and it's just the kids, they enjoy it. Me and Coach Hockenberry on Fridays, we give out free admission to the games by, we're giving out trivia questions. We ask you questions like, who's the logo on the NBA? Kids are trying to search for it. They're doing this and they're doing that. And we give them a free ticket if they get the answer right. Just trying to build up a fan base and get kids to where they want to be at the games on Friday nights. Because, when I was in school, we was trying to go to the movies and skating rings, and no one thought about going to the games and stuff. But these kids, they want to come to the games, and we do stuff to keep them in the crowds.
Very good. Great place to meet Jerry West. So hopefully I'll get a free ticket because I know the answer.
We got you. But you're VIP. You're VIP.
I appreciate that. Wendell Ingram doing a fantastic job. Get over there to Rockville, especially this Friday if they can get it in, because it's going to be a fantastic game with Blackman. Coach Ingram, we certainly do appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Edward Jones Financial. Oh, it was brought to you by Lee Collin, but it's brought to you by somebody else. Now the Coach Show is brought to you by the law offices of John Day, providing superior legal representation to injury victims and their families. Find out more at johndaylegal.com.
We're talking together here at Carpets by Osborne. What are some of the advantages that Carpets by Osborne has?
Being a family business and being locally owned and operated, we do free estimates. We have our own subcontractors that work for our business. We will come out, look at your floor covering. Throughout the whole process, you deal with an individual. You're not passed off to different contractors. We handle it from start to finish.
Carpets by Osborne on Northwest Broad, next to Tire World.
The Blue Raider fan source for officially licensed Middle Tennessee gear is Raider Tees. T-shirts, caps, sweats in all sizes, designs, colors, children's to plus sizes. Raider Tees has decals and license plates to show everyone your favorite team. Plus, check out their wide selection of Blue Raider art, jewelry, even golf tee markers. Show your Blue Raider pride with the largest selection of Blue Raider merchandise anywhere by shopping Raider Tees, 910 Ridgely Road, just before the bridge over Broad behind Chewy's.
Sir Pizza. You in a hurry for dinner? Well, we've made it even easier to order online at sirpizzatn.com. Tap the location nearest you and begin your carryout or delivery order at sirpizzatn.com. You can choose from our full menu, and we'll take care of the rest. A Queen's Feast is calling my name. Order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
The Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
And welcome back to the Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner. This portion of the show brought to you by Bowen's Body Shop. From Deans and Dents to full body work, trust Jeff and Cal Bowen to do the job right. They're located on Middle Tennessee Boulevard. And we welcome Coach Matt Rigsby, the head coach of the Siegel Stars. And I'm going to tell you this illustrious record here, and then you're going to tell me we got some work to do.
That's exactly what I'm going to tell you.
17 and 2 and 2-0 in district play. You had we're going to talk about that game first. Last night's game, what a game. If you're a fan, you're loving it. I mean, it's an exciting game. Maybe not so much as a coach, but as a fan, it was a great game and some great individual performances as well. 86-79 win in overtime, and against the Oakland Patriots. And congratulations! That's a big win for district.
Oh, thanks. It was there was no fun to be had on my end. I can guarantee you that. But if you're spectating on that one, what a great atmosphere. It's kind of one of those things what high school basketball is all about. It kind of had everything. An overtime game. A great run out the gate by us, and then a great comeback by Coach Birdwell's bunch in Oakland. And then here we have a little, I think, stretch. They stretched it 66-60 like a minute and a half to go. And then we have a comeback to force overtime. It had a lot of the feels of a playoff atmosphere you talk about.
I thought the worst thing that could have happened to you last night was you got off to the big lead, and then it looked like you kind of got a little stagnant. Would that be fair to say?
That's exactly what happened. And now that you've got my blood pressure up, because that is exactly what happened, John. And we got out, like I said, 30-15, somewhere around in there, and we started flying around defensively, not staying disciplined. And credit Oakland, their guys, they just hit shots. We gave them more looks than what we're accustomed. I mean, we're going into that game holding teams to 45, I think, a game defensively. But, man, Oakland they fired away. I mean, I've not seen the percentages on what they shot. I don't know if I want to. I mean, credit them.
I will say this in the game, when you were down, Carter Webb stepped up, Mac Moss stepped up,
Mac Moss, I thought, had one of the biggest shots of the game from the corner over there, if you
got it,
remember. Yeah. And that was huge. I mean, and to have of course, a senior takes the shot, but the thing about Siegel to me, from what I've seen, coaches, you've got several guys that are willing to take the shot. I mean, it's not just one; it's maybe 3 or 4.
I mean, we're a hard guard. I mean, don't get me wrong. And the thing about Mac's shot was, I'm sure y'all noticed, was he cut his hand.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how or what happened. He cut his hand, so he's out there hitting that shot with a wrap on his shooting hand. And no, it didn't affect him. It didn't phase him. He stepped in, and that was a huge shot. Of course, it tied it.
When you get it in a game like that, and you're down, and you're just, and like at overtime, it was almost like you were exchanging baskets back and forth. And I know it's nerve-wracking for you, but how much does that help their mental attitude going into the rest of the year, knowing that they didn't play probably their best game in terms of defense, but they still were able to hang on and win that game?
Well, I mean, 17-2. Yeah, I'm not being boastful. That's our record. That's the fact. That is what it is. Number 6 in the state, in the AP poll, all those good things. You're going to get everybody's best shot, gentlemen. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. And we've discussed this. We've talked about this. And we got a daggum good shot from Oakland last night. Again, you got to credit those kids. Coach Birdwell's scheme. And
you don't really you can tell them all you want to in practice and whatever.
But they've got to feel it.
Yeah.
They've got to feel it. And you can't simulate that in practice. I mean, you're down 10 on the scoreboard and you've got 2 minutes to climb back in practice, but still that you still can't simulate that environment, that atmosphere, which again, it was a great one last night. Our student section was phenomenal. We were fortunate to say the least.
Carter Webb, 30-something, 36. He's already 1,000-point scorer, and he got that award last night, and that was great. How much more can he do? I mean, I'm telling you, he's got a ways to go. He's going to be maybe, I don't know who the most top prolific scorer in Siegel history is, but he's going to be getting close.
Well, you ask the question, how much more can you do? If you ask Carter, he'd say, well, I've not started yet, Mr. John, is what he would say. But he's a talent. There's no way around it. Everybody in Rutherford County knows it. In these basketball circles, he's just, again, talk about being a tough guard. He's sneaky quick with a basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But he's long too. You take his mid-range jumper with his length, and he can elevate while shooting it too now. And he's just a tough guard.
The quick first step. I mean, it's really amazing. And when we talk about Carter, he's not cocky. He's confident. I mean, he just has that look when he walks on the floor. The kid knows he can do the job if he needs to.
Yeah, and he has grown. I mean, he logged a lot of minutes. He started for us as a freshman, and he's played a lot of high school basketball in a Siegel uniform. And he, from year to year, now this is his junior year. I mean, he's grown in a maturity. I think I mentioned this last time I was on the air, coach's show. But the maturity of how he handles adversity situations. He didn't. We were down 6 with a minute and a half to go or whatever it was. Like I said earlier, he wasn't wavering. It was just, hey, guys, just give me the ball, please.
Yeah. Another surprise, Melendez. He has been, I think, a pleasant surprise for you.
He is he does everything well. I mean, not to mention the 6 threes he hit against Riverdale Tuesday night. He led us that night in 21. But, yeah, Cadence does everything well. He'll take the charge. Obviously, he shoots it well. Really, really, really wants to block down and be a great defender. And I can't say enough about Cadence. Dorian Lyles last night with a double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah, and one of the biggest shots of the game,
his putback, putback.
Yeah.
It was one of those, he got the rebound, I mean, just phenomenal rebounding effort. He pulls it, and it's one of those, no, don't go back up with it. Oh, great play. Good job. For the animals.
Yeah. There were several plays like that last night. And let's round it out. We got a couple more we want to talk about in last night's game because everybody contributed. Everybody had a moment.
Yeah, and back to Mac Moss. Him having 18. He hasn't been scoring it as much recently, and that's not because he's playing poorly or he's not within himself or anything. It's just back to those 3-4. I mean, we got 5 scores. there's only one basketball to be shared to go around.
Ross too. I mean, in that equation,
and so Mike understands that. He understands his role as a point guard. He is a distributor. His shots are going to come. Like I said, Mac had a phenomenal night last night. Without his 18, of course, we're not in that ball game.
Yeah.
And
it didn't take a lot of shots. He really didn't take that many shots. I mean, it's a very good percentage.
He never plays outside of himself.
Yeah.
He's very methodical, with the basketball, and he picks his spots well. Can't say enough about Mike and his leadership. And but again, you can't claw your way back in a ball game like that. Taking rush shots and thinking I'm down 6, so I'm gonna shoot a 6-pointer right here. It doesn't work that way. You've one possession at a time, and but it also works that way on the defensive end, and that failed us last night. So that's can't wait to get to practice tomorrow. I guarantee you that.
I was during the game last night. After during a timeout, I turned to Brian and said, "I'd love to pick Matt Risby's brain right now, or do I want to?" He said, "You probably don't."
I don't know if it would be fit for radio,
but made some great adjustments. And again, Oakland played great. I tip the hat. That Haggard kid,
absolutely,
pretty awesome. And you shot very well from the free throw line, which I think, if you look back, that was probably the biggest thing. You went to the line so many times, and I think you shot about 80% from the free throw line. That was perfect.
30 of 37.
Yeah.
And I think 14 of 15 in the second half.
Yeah.
That has to happen. But then, we shot 56% Tuesday night against Riverdale. So,
So are you looking for more consistency a little bit, even though you've got a 17-2 record? I know there's things that are still out there bothering you. Defense last night, but some other things that you're probably concerned with, or just maybe the consistency of the team?
Yes, and, consistency is always a thing. And, I'm not going to say last night was some enigma. Sometimes, it's Rutherford County 4A basketball. You're going to get exposed.
Yeah.
And that's what Oakland did to us defensively. And, again, credit them. Credit their kids. Credit Isaiah Verge with a 27-point second half. Goodness gracious. He could have threw it up there backwards, and I swear it was still going to go in. I mean, the second half that kid had shooting the basketball. And so it's always good, again, to be exposed a little bit, be humbled. I can't get mad about it. At the end of the day, we won the basketball game, so I can't be too upset about it. And at the end of the day, of course, that's what matters. But
and the effort was there. I mean, it seems like they're always fighting, clawing, and they don't back away from anybody, your guys.
Yeah, we kind of played too hard there for a stretch to let Oakland get back in it. It was again, we got up big early. We kind of smelled blood in the water a little bit. We were gambling and chasing and trailing guys, trying to get steals and easy buckets that way, and we just didn't really stay within ourselves. So there's definitely a lesson to be learned on that one.
We're talking to Matt Risby, the head coach of the Siegel Stars, 17-2 on the year, 2-0 in district play, and we've got some, if we play, there are going to be some snow possibilities here, but you've got a couple of tough ones coming up, Rockville and Blackman coming up as well.
They're all tough from here on out, no doubt, but it seems like it takes forever for us to finally get into district play.
Yeah.
I was excited to start district play, and now I'm dreading it, especially after what we had to sit through last night.
Think about it too, Coach. It is so quick. I mean, you play a lot of preseason. I call it preseason. Before district, pre-district games, and then boom. Like in four weeks' time, you've gone through the district, and I mean that's a rough schedule.
We're in the thick of it, and of course, everybody in our district's playing the same schedule I am. So
yeah.
There's just no nights, the proverbial no nights off. I mean, and that makes it fun. It makes it stressful, but that does make it fun.
I know Rockville's had some injuries, and Blackman's had some injuries. You've had a few little sprains and that kind of thing, but nothing really to the point where it's a season ending, as far as I know. So that's a good thing. You want to stay healthy, and I'm knocking on wood again.
Okay, for you. That. So we have been fortunate. Again, I hope these young athletes, they get healthy, get back with their teams on the floor as well.
If you have snow, what do you think the plan will be? I would say if we have what they're saying, we're going to be out at least 3 days. And so how does that work? Or you have to reschedule? You do that rescheduling on that if we get snowed out?
At Rockville Tuesday, we've already started talking a little bit, to see what we can do. I was going to practice Monday morning. We're out of school, Martin Luther King Day. I don't see that happening. So I went on and scheduled a practice for tomorrow. So I'm trying to get out in front of it a little bit proactively, but Still have to have some talks with Rockville and see what they can do. I know they have a game Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
So that makes it tough on us this week. So we'll have to see.
Well, I could talk to you longer, but our time's up. But I appreciate it, Coach, and what a good year you're having so far, and I hope continued success. And two tough games, Rockville and Blackman, if you do get to play. If not, I guess you heal up, and any kind of little minor injuries, you can kind of take it a couple of days. But, boy, we're looking forward. It's going to be an exciting boys race down the stretch.
I completely agree with that assessment.
You'll get some sleep in March.
In March, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Matt Reesby, the head coach of the Siegel Stars. Always a pleasure talking to him. And this portion of the show brought to you by Craig's Tax Service, specializing in personal and business tax preparation, financials, and bookkeeping services. Find out more at craigstaxservice.com. When we come back, we're going to be talking some Eagleville basketball as we continue here on the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coach's Corner.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive offers complete tax preparation, financial, and bookkeeping services.
This is Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service. We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service reminds you that it makes sense to get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We've been serving Rutherford County since 1988.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
We're just off Memorial Boulevard at 142 Heritage Park Drive.
The Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
And we welcome you back to the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner. John Dingens with you. This portion of the show brought to you by Sir Pizza, whose 3 Murfreesboro locations offer a huge selection of mouth-watering pizzas, sandwiches, pastas, and wings. You can order your favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. And joining me this morning is head coach of the Eagleville boys, Davey McLaren. And Davey, how are you this morning after a big win and a good home win last night?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a good win last night.
You guys have been take away a little tournament down at around Christmas time or a little after Christmas. You guys have been red hot. I don't want to jinx you, but you've been red hot.
We've figured some things out. The boys are definitely putting in the hard work every day. They come in, practice hard, and we go down to Alabama and we play some big teams. And I felt like we played, as well as we've played in this winning stretch. Competition was just, a little bigger than what we normally face. So very, very pleased with where we're at right now.
Oh, that probably helped you, didn't it, really? I mean, to play that kind of tough competition over the holidays. I mean, it's one thing to play teams and win and win or lose, but, boy, the type of competition you play is really big, isn't it?
It really is, and it's better than practicing over the holidays when, the boys would much rather get out there and compete against another team than just go in there and go through the motions. So it was a great trip for us, and it definitely paid benefits.
Well, you're undefeated in the district, which is really important. Let me go over the last 4 games or so that you've had. You won 53-46 over Mount Pleasant, 75-59 over Moore County. That was a huge win. 67-44 win over Cascade, and then last night's 69-60 win over Huntland. And there's some really talented teams in there, Moore County and Huntland both.
Yeah, the records don't indicate it. You throw the records out when you play in district. I'm sure you can see it in all the Murfreesboro schools that are all in the district. When you play a familiar opponent that you've been playing year in and year out, they tend to take some tendencies that you do and do very well. They take them away, and it makes the games a little tougher. And so those wins were tough wins for us. We didn't just win real easy. Our offense is, and fortunately we got several guys that are capable of putting up big numbers. So, Camden Cole had back-to-back really big games against Cascade and Moore County. But last night, I felt like Huntland did a really good job against him, putting him in tough positions, trapping him, speeding him up. And we had some other kids that stepped up, like Jackson Nichols and James Biga, that just stepped up and filled those roles. So we have several guys that can put points on the board, and that's really what our strength has been here in the last several games.
Yeah, Nichols has been playing well for you. I do know that, and I've seen you guys 2 or 3 times now, and it seems like when you started, you were really young. A lot of people don't realize you're pretty young in some of these areas. You got sophomores, and and it takes a few games, I guess, in the early going to kind of get acclimated with each other. Would that be fair statement?
I think so. I think, there's lots of high expectations on this team, and we haven't won those big games yet, but the expectations are that we step out there and we win them, which, we accept those expectations, and we gladly put ourselves in that position. But at the end of the day, the potential is not alone just going to get you there. You got to go out there and do all the work. And with those expectations, our only senior, CJ, he struggled a little bit offensively. That was very uncharacteristic for him at the beginning of the season. But last 4 games, he has really been the CJ that we've seen the last 3 years, and shot the ball much better. I think he was 6 of 7 against Cascade the other night, and had 11 points last night, and he's 13 points away from 1,000 in his career. So, he's starting to just relax and play. Sometimes seniors, they start to feel some pressure, and they put more pressure on themselves than what's needed. And I felt like that's what he's done. And luckily, he's got a really good group of boys around him that have, taken some of that pressure off of him and just helped him get back to where he's capable of playing. And that's the beauty of this team. We've got a lot of guys that contribute.
Isn't it crazy how some kids will do that? It's not pressure from the coaches. You guys don't pressure them, but I guess they feel like, especially with a younger squad, they've got to carry the load, which they really don't. They just need to let the game come to them and let the other guys do their thing.
Yeah, and because we have some guys, and I mean, I failed to mention, about 5 other guys that have been playing well, but, Gray Barker and Brady Burns, I mean, they all bring something in, and they all want to do it all. That's probably our biggest flaw, is that everybody that hits the floor wants to carry the load. They all want to, do it all by themselves and put the team on their back and we don't have to. We've got a team that can all carry a small portion of it, and that's another thing. We were trying to do too much early in the year, and I feel like we're playing together more so than we have all year. We're sharing the ball. We're communicating. Like you said, acclimation and gelling together, and just trusting each other. It's been a journey, and right now it looks like we're still improving every night, and hopefully we'll keep doing that.
We're talking to Davey McLaren, the head coach of the Eagleville Eagles. And Davey, when I've been able to go to some JV games and that kind of thing, and what surprises me, and I've never really followed y'all's district schedule and your whole schedule as a whole. It's a whole different ball game when it comes to traveling. You've got different gyms, and they all look different. I mean, there's all have their little unique things about them. Some are really small. Some you feel like you're caved in. I mean, it's an adventure on the road every game, really.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have some gyms that have schools are, like you said, small, will only hold probably 800 people to, some of these bigger places, they don't understand what you're talking about, but there's some real small, they're still on the 85-foot floors. Then you get a gym like ours where it's spread out and it's a bigger floor, and that's I think that makes you some road warriors when you get out there and you play in different environments. People are on top of you, toughens you up a little bit. And talk about the JV. Our JV has done an outstanding job this year. They're very fun to watch. It's a little bit different gear than our varsity. They don't have as much size, but man, they have a lot of grit and a lot of speed, and they're just they play a little bit different game because they have different strengths. So if you hadn't watched our JV play, you might be as or more entertained watching the JV guys, because they guard you from baseline to baseline. They have a little bit different, like I said, abilities and strengths, and it's just back and forth with them. They're a lot of fun as well.
One other thing I want to ask you before we talk about last night's game, but it's not only road warriors, but a long road. It is some of these trips are rather lengthy, and a lot of people don't have to go through that either.
No, they don't. We can go as much as an hour and 30, hour and 40 minutes away. And, if girls start JV at 3:30, you're leaving extremely early, and you're talking about not only your JV boys, but your varsity boys are sitting there all night long, all afternoon long until we play. So it's just a good thing we all like each other. We all get along well because we spend a lot of time together. On those trips.
That's a great point.
I think it's definitely a plus for our team, building. But you spend a lot of time with one another, so you really do become a family on those trips.
Well, here we go. I want to mention a little bit about the game last night. Rather close one. Huntland, a tough opponent, and a big win at home, because you really need to win the games at home, don't you?
You got to win at home, and I think the old saying is win all your games at home and win half of them on the road.
Right.
You'll be a really good team. It's a much needed win last night to hold home court advantage, and we just couldn't put them away. They have a really good player, point guard, who's really hard to guard. A little uncharacteristic at our level. He's probably about 6'2". He's a downhill player, and he just creates a lot of problems on the defensive end. I wasn't very happy with our defensive effort last night. I felt like we just wanted to get the ball and go because we had been scoring points. So wasn't one of our normal games on the defensive end. But every time they cut it close, we seemed to find a bucket out there and find a stop when we had to, which I don't like to pick and choose. We're not, when it's time to play, but I'm glad we were able to do that last night.
And now you go, I think you're at Richland, then Cornersville at home, and then at Fayetteville, which is another big district game as well. And so I guess I hate to say because it's so early, but it's kind of the home stretch when you talk about district. You got to win them.
Yeah, we're winding down, and, our district only has 4 teams in it this year, which is kind of, a little more challenging because you had to find a lot of games that were non-district after Christmas, which we're not used to. So had to go out and find some teams. And next week we play 3 games in 1 week just so that we could have a complete schedule. And then we'll play, the following week we'll only play 1 game that week. So makes it a little bit tougher. But, we go to Richland on Monday if the weather allows us. And, they're just a very, very good single-A team. They have size, they have speed, they have athleticism, and they're very well coached. And then we'll play Cornersville on Thursday, and then, we'll have another district opponent at a very tough place to win. And they're 2-0 in the district, and we're 2-0 in the district. So Fayetteville will, traditionally has always been a battle with Eagleville. Over the last 6 years that I've been here, it's been back and forth. So, we look for a good matchup, tough matchup, and whoever wins that game will take sole place of first place next Friday.
Well, Davey, I appreciate you being on this morning, and tell you what, you got a really good streak going, and Let's keep it up. I'm going to knock on wood and not jinx you. But you guys are playing well, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that's Davey McLaren, the head coach of the Eagleville Eagles. And when we come back, we're going to switch from the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner to Cougar Corner. Stay right here with us.
Stickers, labels, we do a lot of direct mail, booklets, manuals, programs. My name is Jeff Carlton. I handle sales and marketing for Franklin's Print Works here at Murfreesboro. We are at 2227 South Park Drive. Franklin's Print Works has been in Murfreesboro for over 25 years. We are a full-service commercial printer. We offer everything from business cards to brochures, booklets to banners, everything in between. Our website is franklinsprinting.org.
Winners Trophies can help you with customized awards for any occasion. Owner Kelly Hockenberry continues to provide awards for sports teams, churches, recognition awards, and more. Call Winners Trophies at 904-6002. That's 904-6002 for the best in quality, service, and pricing. You can also email Kelly, winnerstrophy@comcast.net. That's winnerstrophy@comcast.net. Any award for any occasion. Winners Trophies, 904-6002.
It's time to talk MTCS sports. It's Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
We're joined by Middle Tennessee Christian School coaches to talk about their most recent games and their upcoming opponents. It's time to talk orange and white on MTCS Cougar Corner.
And we welcome you to Cougar Corner. John Dinkins here with you this morning, and it is Boys Week, so that means Coach Greg Eubanks is going to be our guest today. And Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Beautiful sunny day, and it's cool, and we might as well enjoy the nice weather while we have it, because it appears that it may not be around so long, but we get some good white stuff maybe. What is Brian saying about that?
Brian says anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. I'm thinking probably if we get 2 to 3, I'm hoping 2 to 3, but I don't like that. I don't like that 4 to 6, but it's good for snowball fights, I guess, and that kind of thing, and sledding. But at my age, my advanced age, I don't care anything about doing that.
But it would be fun to stand in downtown Murfreesboro when Brian comes to work and just kind of, have some snowballs thrown at him.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me tempted on that, Coach. I could do that all day long. Middle Tennessee Christian School boys, I know you didn't play last night, but tell me, you did a little schedule change last week, and you did play a game USN, right?
Yeah, we played on Thursday night. So we had a little Grace Christian, who's in our district, was on, these Jan-type term trips and that type of stuff. So they had to cancel their games. We moved that game later on in a couple of weeks from now. And so we just played USN on Thursday up in Nashville and really competed well and, fought and just didn't shoot the ball well. And so actually asked the boys yesterday at practice, I said, what was the difference between us and USN? Because there wasn't a whole lot of difference athletically or skill-wise or things like that. And they said, and this is the truth, they made threes and we didn't. And we just had trouble scoring around the basket. And so, we ended up losing the game, but it's encouraging to see the improvement that's happening on a daily basis. And I told the kids, we're about 6 weeks behind because our football team, I don't know if you know this or not, I keep telling, I'll shout it from the mountains. Our football team won the state championship.
I was there, Coach. I saw every bit of it.
Yeah, it was still, football team, and the school's still on a high from that, and it's awesome that they did that. And Coach Petey they're still having all state awards, and Coach Petey's getting named Coach of the Year for this, Coach of the Year for that. And it's completely 100% deserved. But from a basketball standpoint, we didn't have our guys. We didn't have our whole team until the middle of December, and so it's interesting just to watch our guys kind of get their legs back underneath them and figure out how to make shots. And we shot the ball well yesterday in practice and had a good practice yesterday. And so we just keep focusing on basketball as a tournament sport, and everything we're doing between now and the end of our regular season is for seeding. And in our district, there is a definite 2, 3, 4 teams that are ahead of the other 3 or 4 teams. And so we know we're going to probably be in the bottom half of that 3 or 4 teams, but we want to get to February 7th, and that's when our first round of our district tournament is. And we just want to be playing our best basketball and throw it up and see what happens. And so we're just taking it one day at a time and learning how to fight and learning how to compete. But really, for this particular group, and I really, really like this group, and this group's getting better every single day, and they're playing together. And but we just got to get our it's basically just basketball skills. So yesterday we just did a whole skill development type of practice, and we played a lot of 3-on-3 yesterday, and that seems to be what we need right now. And we had a good Christmas break. We came back from Christmas break. We've had some good practices, and we're getting better, and we're growing together as a team. One of the things that we did, we can't, like last Wednesday, we were going to practice, and I thought, I don't want to go over a press offense, and I don't want to play I don't want to teach defense, and I know they don't want to. And so what can we do what's the best way to spend our time? And so I went over to I saw in the movie theater that the Boys in the Boat movie
right
being shown at 3:40. And we get out of class. We were going to start practice at 3:30, and that's what I told the boys. I said, "Hey, we're going to go till 5:30." I said, "We're going to go to 6 o'clock," and they all thought we were going to have a 3-hour practice. And I said, "Okay, we're getting the vans. We're going to the movies." And you just the looks on their face were like, "What is going on?" But that movie is all about teamwork.
Yes.
And trusting. One of the best, and we've used this line several times, is you have to trust your teammate more than you trust yourself. And one of the parallels in that movie is that everybody's rowing in the boat, but the only person who sees where they're going is the guy sitting at the front of the boat, the kind of the coach of the boat. And he's telling them where to go, but the other 8 guys in the boat don't have any idea where they're going. They just have to look at the guy in front of them and trust them and go at the same pace. And when they do that, remarkable things will happen. And so we've talked about playing together as defense and playing together on offense and sharing the ball. And we've done a really good job of that. And we're getting good shots, and we're making great cuts, and we're doing some smart things on defense that the kids are doing themselves. And we're just going to continue to work on that. And we're going to just work on making shots, but we're making better decisions. And that's what's really, really encouraging. So, we talk about being as one, because that's what they talk about in the movie, is that they weren't 8 rowers all rowing individually, but they were as one. They were one group. And I said, I like our team, I like our guys, and I think they like each other. And we're gonna, it's been a good experience. And sometimes when you win a lot, there's issues with that. Sometimes when you lose a lot, there's issues with that. But our guys are coming around, and we're just some of the best lessons in life are the ones that when you get knocked down, what happens? So the other night at USN, they hit a couple of threes, and man, it was demoralizing for everybody, for the players and the coach. And I thought, oh my goodness, we're down 14 right now. We called timeout, and the guys came over the bench, and I just said to them, "It's okay. Let's see what you're made of. What are you fighting? What are you going to do with this?" Right? They hit 2 threes. Nobody likes that. What are you going to do about it? And they rallied together, and they continue to fight the rest of the game. And we weren't able to come back from that, but it was encouraging to watch how they worked together and they fought together. And some guys played really better against USN. Other guys didn't play quite as well. But we're just going to keep fighting and try to we're going to get to February 7th and give it all we got on that night. And then who knows from there. If we win that night, then we're guaranteed 3 more games, and we'll just keep playing until they say, you're not allowed to play anymore. So,
well, you've got I'll tell you, your district is pretty loaded. I mean, we've got Columbia Academy, they're 11th ranked, and PCA's number 2 ranked. I mean, those are not little buttercups to play. You're playing the best of the best.
They are really good. BGA has a player who signed with TSU. Columbia Academy has a player that signed with Alabama Huntsville, and he's really, really good. Alabama Huntsville has a really good program. That team to the north of us, at the other end of the Murfreesboro Airport, they have 3 or 4 really, really good players, and they had a kid come in to transfer point guard, and there's nobody in our league who has a 6'8" point guard, and so that's a tough matchup for everybody. And then Webb has a lot of good athletes, and so there's a lot of good players, and there's a lot of good coaches. And Kerry does a fantastic job with his team and plays to their abilities. Trey Meyer over at BGA is been there for 3 years now. He's got a really good system, and those kids play hard. Coach Jared at Columbia Academy, he does a great job with his kids. He's not very deep. They're not very deep, and that's who we play on Tuesday night if we don't have 6 or 8 inches of snow. But Columbia Academy's coming to Murfreesboro next Tuesday night, and they're not very deep. But, man, the 2 or 3 players that they have that are really, really talented are really, really talented. They're a tough matchup. They got a great shooter. They got a great inside player who can really – he's a quick jumper. And then they probably have the best athlete in the whole district. So next week we play Columbia Academy at home on Tuesday night, and then we go to that team to the north on Friday night. We just played them the Friday before, and then we have an away game against the NCC Warriors on Saturday. So we have 3 games next week, and then we have 2 more weeks in the regular season. And then so we keep saying we've got our time is limited, and so we don't want to waste a single day of practice or a single rep that we have. That we just want to try to figure out how to get better and continue to make shots. And I'm optimistic. And I'm excited about to see what these guys do over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I guess you'll be a scheduling guru after next week if it does snow, because you're going to have to be. I guess you're going to have to be changing, talking to some coaches if we have some snow.
Yes. We will be playing a lot of games with very few practices if the snow comes next week, and we've got to make up 3 games. So it'll be it is what it is, and that's the fun part of it. And that's when the kids will be 15, 20, 30 years from now when they come back for reunions. They'll be talking about that practice that we had on Friday night, or that time we went to the movies, or that time we had to play 4 games in a row, because of snow. So,
well, I've coached some middle school ball. I've never coached high school. And I'm going to ask this question. Do you guys have like a phone chain with coaches when it comes to snow and that kind of thing? I mean, do you have everybody's phone number? Is that how y'all communicate and go, I need to reschedule this? Or do you talk to ADs? How does that work? I would say give it to Piercy, but I would imagine you'll do part of the work.
Yeah, we do have a group text. But we'll just kind of work with individual coaches. And the coaches in our district, we all share film with each other. There's no secrets. They're very – Micah, who's the coach down at Webb, I mean, he has done a great job with his team. But the coaches in our district are really good people. I got a note from Kerry Hammonds over Christmas break, and it was just basically saying, best wishes to your team, and I'm praying for you. And I just, pray safety over your team and pray that, you have a great season and things like that. I mean, that's unusual. Trey Meyer, and again, like Lynn over at Grace Christian, just all fantastic people. And so we understand, that we're all in this together. We're all in the business of, we all want to win championships and we all want to beat each other, but we're in the business of trying to develop kids and make memories for kids and give them the best high school experience that they can, because time goes by so fast. And especially in our district, we have so many kids who play football, especially for our school, but we have kids that play football and kids that play baseball. And this is just part of their whole high school experience and part of their educational experience. So, the coaches work together, and then the girls' coaches I'll work with Coach Jones And she's done a great job with her girls, by the way. I think they're 5-2 in the district or something like that. She's not very deep, but she's done a great job with that team, and has brought them along. And Anna Clay Shirley is really, really a good player and fantastic volleyball player, and she's a good student. She's in my second period class, and she's a really good student. But it's good to work together. It's a good experience, and it's good that we can try to understand and help each other out. And so the coaches help each other out, and just try to do what's best for the kids.
Greg Eubanks, our guest here, head coach of the MTCS boys basketball team, and I know the season before we blink, it's going to be over. Tell me somebody on your team that maybe has surprised you a little bit, and it doesn't have to be necessarily athletically, just a kid that you maybe want to spotlight this week that's done something good, or maybe he just has been an inspiration.
You know what? That's an interest. I was thinking about this conversation and us visiting today, and I thought I wanted to bring this up. So it's a great question. So I appreciate you asking that. Number one is a kid named Kaysen Hill, and Kaysen's primary sport is baseball. He is maybe our best athlete, overall athlete, and he committed to go to Stanford University for baseball. He's a junior, and he brings to us a competitiveness that is really drives other people to be competitive. And so we had a situation in practice where we were kind of struggling a little bit and kind of going through the motions. And Kaysen just really made some hustle plays. He made some hustle plays against in a couple of games over the Christmas break that just really was shocking, right? Just getting after the ball and trying to save the ball, and he has raised our level of play. And for him, he injured his ankle really, really bad in his freshman baseball year before I even came. And last year as a sophomore, his plan was to play 4 sports. He played golf and football in the fall, same time, would go to football practice, then go to golf match. And then he was going to play basketball. He was going to play baseball. Well, sometime in the football season, he got tackled awkwardly, and he hurt that same ankle that he had surgery on. So he didn't play basketball last year, and was able to come back and play some in the baseball season. But Kaysen has been was a guy that we wasn't sure was going to play this year, and he is just a guy that makes us competitive and he raises our level of play every year. I mean, every practice. And then the other kid that I didn't expect to play, and honestly, I hadn't talked to him in my year and a half of being at MTCS, and it's Harris Haynes. And Harris was an all-district, all-region defensive lineman on our football team. And Harris is a big kid and very, very quiet, and just, doesn't have a real big personality, but just kind of keeps to himself. And I always thought, what is the deal with that guy? And I watched him play football this fall, and man, he looked like a man possessed. And I thought, what is that guy? And Harris called me about right at the end of the regular season of football and said, Coach, I want to play basketball. And I said, Harris, I don't think you'll know what we're doing. And we've gone through all the summer, and I don't think it's going to work out. And I thought he would forget about it. I said, Harris, you're probably not going to make the team, but let's wait, get the football season over with, and then we'll talk about it. So about 1:30 in the morning on the Thursday night after the football season ended. So football season ended about 7 o'clock or so. And I thought Harris is never going to come back to me. About 1:30, he was, still awake, because that's what teenagers do. And he texted me. I didn't see it till the next morning. He said, Coach, can I try out for basketball? And I thought, oh, boy, okay, I got to do this. I'm going to go through this process and just let him, go through the motions and that type of stuff. And Harris came out, and he has been an exemplary teammate, and he has been a great practice player for us. He hasn't played basketball since 5th grade, and he's learning and trying to get better every day. And he said, Coach, I'm a senior, and I just want to help our school out before I leave. And I want to be able to contribute something to the school. And I said, I can't say no to that. When a kid wants to be part of our program and he wants to help our school out, and that's what we're really all about, is kids taking the abilities that they have and use them to play multiple sports. What a beautiful thing to be at MTCS and to be able to play multiple sports and to be in the play and to be able to go on a mission trip and do all those things. And so I really appreciate Harris for him coming out, and I just appreciate getting to know him. But he makes us better. He does, he's gotten to play a little bit in some of the games, but I don't know. We'll see what happens over these next 3 weeks, how much he develops. But he's a fun kid, and I'm really, really glad he's on our team. I'm glad Kaysen and Harris both are on our team because they make us better.
They have their priorities right, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one question. We got just a few minutes left, and about the Hale tournament, the James C. Hale tournament, and it's always an exciting time. I know Jason Piercy doesn't want to hear about snow on Monday, but that's a great event. And tell us just briefly what you can about that, because everybody on the campus chips into this thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought talking about Jason Pierce, I thought he was banned from this program.
Well, he is basically, yes, but you can mention his name.
I know. I can't believe he keeps coming up week after week after week, and can't Jason can it not be about Jason one time? So anyway, Jason Piercy has put together this tournament, and it is a 3-week-long tournament that is run better than the TWSAA state tournament. And it is fantastic. And it is 100% total all-in school effort that Troy Berry and Billy Snell are helping him out this year. And it's a monster. It's a monster. And kids and players come from all over the state. We had a team show up yesterday from Decatur County, which is on the other side of the West Tennessee side of the Tennessee River. And they drove 2.5 hours. And they brought a boys team and a girls team and a cheerleaders and probably 50 or so parents and fans. And there's teams that come from Cookeville. It's a true state middle school, state tournament. There are people from all over the place, and there are games starting today, I believe, around 10 or 11 o'clock, and they'll go till 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then when we play away, or even during the week this week, we're playing Columbia Academy on Tuesday. Well, there'll be Hale tournament games going on in Miller Gym on Tuesday. Our middle school team is playing on Tuesday. Our 5th and 6th grade team plays a little bit later this afternoon. And boys and girls, there's 3 divisions. There's 3 divisions for the boys and 2 divisions. There's 3 divisions and for smaller schools and boys and girls and 5th and 6th grade and 7th and 8th grade. And it's unbelievable. Kelly Mullins, with our new video boards, they do the announcing of the teams. They do have great. The atmosphere is wonderful. They have a hospitality room for the coaches and the officials. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in the state. There's nothing like that I've seen. And it brings so many people to campus, and it's just the spirit of MTCS is spread to a lot of people, and there's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of memories made. When our girls team played Cookeville earlier this year, there was some girls from the Cookeville team that said, "Hey, I remember playing in here," because their middle school came up and played in the Hale tournament. It's a great tradition. There's a lot of memories that are made, and it's just a fantastic effort. But really, Jason Piercy heads that up. Beth Basham helps him out with an unbelievable amount of concessions, and Jason does a fantastic job. And that's the thing. And I joke about Jason. He does things in an excellent manner, and that's the beauty of him having him as a boss and the expectations that you have. Nick Saban, you may have heard on the news, Nick Saban retired this week. I know everybody heard Nick Saban retired this week. But Nick Saban has famously said, high character people and high expectation people don't like low expectation people, and low expectation people don't like high expectation people. And Jason just kind of rises everything up and rises everybody up. And I think you see that as he's shifted from being from basketball coach to being full-time athletic director. Our volleyball program, our football program, our basketball programs, our baseball programs are all on the rise, and there's some exciting times ahead.
Well, Coach, I could talk another 30 minutes or so, but I got to let you go. I do want to tell you, I know good luck this week, and I hope you get to play, and I hope it's a successful week. Or if it snows, I hope you have a successful week rescheduling everything.
We have a successful week throwing snowballs and building snowmen, and like, we may have a team sledding party.
There you go. That's the way to do it. All right, Coach. That's Coach Eubanks of the Middle Tennessee Christian School Cougars, and we thank him for joining us here on Cougar Corner. When we come back, Brian Baird will wrap everything up here on Cougar Corner. Stay with us.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
The large majority of our kids are involved in athletics or extracurricular activities, one or the other, and most are doing multiple activities.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
And that's a great preparation for life. How many of us in our life are just doing one thing? So a well-rounded student is a huge deal.
Invest in your child's future in a Christ-centered environment with many athletic and extracurricular choices.
Without a doubt, our students have the opportunity to be involved in multiple activities.
To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Experts in joint, bones, and muscles. And with over 65 specialists, TOA has a playbook to get you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
People love to see us on the schedule when they have a home game because our fans show up.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
The way we travel is just phenomenal. Our parents and our community are fully engaged in our school. When we compete, we're trying to do it in a way that honors God. We want to win. We also want to do it in a way that pleases Him.
Providing Christian values and academic excellence in a nurturing environment. That's Middle Tennessee Christian School. Invest in the future of your child. Find out more at mtcscougars.org.
It's MTCS Cougar Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro.
Presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. TOA. Live your best life. Online at TOA.com.
On FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
Back here on MTCS Cougar Corner, let's wrap things up this morning with a quick check of your Jennings and Ayers Funeral Home scoreboard in some games from the week. And MTCS girls win at University School of Nashville on Thursday, 70-34 to move to 5-1 in district play. The only loss to PCA just a few weeks back. With almost all of the Lady Cougars scoring, they defeat USN on the road and today in Chattanooga, and then got a home versus Baylor as well. So against USN, Graham had 24, Shirley 24, Rucker 8, Byram 5, Smith 5, White 2, and Wisnowski with 2. It was 22-0 at the end of the first quarter. So pretty good showing there by the Lady Cougars. And the only other score was from Thursday, and the Cougars fall 66-43 to USN. Hill had 10 in the game for the boys, Boyd 8, Hawson 8, 7 for Harvey, Cooey with 6, and Dodson with 4. Only a 1-point ball game after the end of the first, but a tough second and especially third quarter. Lost that third quarter 24-9. This week coming up, here is a look at the schedule. Again, the girls varsity game versus Baylor at Baylor this afternoon. And then next week, scheduled, we have to say that, scheduled. All of this is subject to change with the forecast. But here we go. Monday, boys middle school JV at 4:30, girls middle school at 5:30, and boys to follow at 6:30. That's at the Webb School on Monday. On Tuesday at 4:30, boys JV at MTCS versus Columbia Academy. At 6 o'clock, the varsity game, the boys game, will follow as they host Columbia Academy. And on Thursday, girls middle school JV at 4, boys at 5, girls middle school at 6, boys at 7 at PCA. And Friday, boys junior varsity at 4:30 versus PCA, girls varsity at 6 versus PCA, boys to follow at 7:30. That's a schedule of what's coming up this week. And also, just a reminder, do a Google search for James C. Hale or go to jameschale.com, and you can see the brackets for the James C. Hale tournament. If there are any changes, of course, the Hale tournament started a couple of days ago and runs through the 27th. They've done this snow thing before, so it's not a big deal, okay? So they know what to do and how to get it done, and there will be some adjustments, I'm sure. But James C. Hale, HAILE.com. Well, that's going to do it this morning. Quick wrap up. Let's get out of here and stay warm this next week. That is going to be a really big thing. So stay warm, stay safe out there, and we will see you back next Saturday morning. It's Girls Basketball Week next Saturday on the Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Coaches Corner and MTCS Cougar Corner. My thanks to my co-hosts this morning, John Dinkins and Danny Brewer, our producer, Dalton Barrett. I'm Brian Barrett. Have a wonderful Saturday, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.
Make a simple change to CBDistillery.com. With more than 2 million customers and a solid 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is a source you can trust. For you, as a listener of our show, we've secured a 20% discount to get you started. By the way, they even offer pet products as well. Just go to CBDistillery.com to save 20% or find the link at rmworldtravel.com, and look under sponsors. Well, you know, the first of the new year is when those of us who care about frequent flyer miles, hotel points, and status in both airline and hotel loyalty programs, we take stock. First of all, should you even care about these things? Well, if you use a credit card tied to an airline or hotel company, you should. Or you should care about any credit card, which these days is most credit cards, that gives you points toward lots of stuff beyond airline tickets and hotel nights. That's because you're paying for those points and miles whether you use them or not.